Hey, everybody, it's the Bennington Show on a post-Super Tuesday, Hangover Wednesday. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
We played a little California music because this Saturday debuts GPS LA.
This Saturday, March 5th, 3 p.m., Deep Tracks, Channel 27.
Now, that was a song that did not make it, and Chris Stanley pushed for it, and I'm like, we'll play it on our show, because you said Surf City, it reminds you of your podcasts that you do called High Society. Only there they say 2 boys for every boy.
Yeah.
And
it's fond memories.
Sounds like prison rules. Sounds like prison etiquette. If Joey JoJo's walking a little prouder, talking a little louder, it's because his home state of Minnesota was the only one in the country to go for Rubio.
Hell yeah, Rubio.
You fucking idiots. You know what killed me about Minnesota? I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm like, I could get more people in this building than you could go out and vote for an election. You're looking at like 20,000, 17,000. I'm like, why are we even bothering?
Just forget it then.
Any county in Jersey has more people. But a fun, exciting night. And I'm trying to watch Super Tuesday and listen to the Best Show. So I got Super in one ear, Best in the other, and I'm going back and forth.
Super Best Show.
And then I'm like, that'd be a great name for our show. Super Best Show.
Really put him in his place.
You had a great appearance last night.
I had so much fun on the Best Show last night with Tom Sharpling, and I believe the episode is now already up. So you can check it out on thebestshow.net.
I'm a little jealous because you guys have fantastic chemistry.
We have a good time together.
Well, it's very funny. I mean, all of you are too young to remember the Mary Tyler Moore show, but it was like Mary Tyler Moore and Lou Grant together.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Where you yap, and then he bites you on the heel every once in a while. It's very funny. And it was actually a great appearance. And then I heard him talking about being a Simpsons voice, which is mind-blowing to me.
I think that is about the coolest thing in the world. I can't believe that he and John Worster are going to be on The Simpsons. I believe it's later this month.
And he's not giving away any hints of what happens or what goes on.
It's something that was in the works for a long time. I guess they had actually recorded it a long time ago, so it's very exciting because now he can finally talk about
I'm going to guess what happens, that they end up throwing Bart in the back of a van, and it's a parody of The Room at the end of it, but it's the van. The other reason why I love the show is I like little digs at Chris Stanley. That always makes me happy.
I don't get it. I don't know why he has such hate towards me.
When he was bringing up your filthy T-shirts and how late, I'm like, I'm going to make a copy of this and send this to the bosses.
Don't.
Here it's serious, because they should know what the media believes.
Tom Sharpling has a fascination with you, and I think that you should take that as a compliment.
It's a negative fascination. I don't know why I should bring up all my bad traits. I don't get it.
Now, are you guys saying fatuation or fatuation?
Either way works.
He basically said, here's what he basically said, which is so dead on, that you, look at you, just knock shit over. What did you knock over? Water?
Yeah.
He basically said that you have the stereotype personality of a...
Napkins for water.
Is that you trying to make your team listen to you? But he was sitting in the corner.
Of the room I'm in.
Yes, of the room that you were in. He basically said, and you just proved it there, that you have the personality of a fuck-up producer.
That is incorrect. Sure, I knocked over a cup of water right now. That's just a coincidence.
Why was it on the floor?
You know, your anger level at that spilled water. I actually thought something really bad had just happened when I looked up and saw his expression.
Well, no, it's in a perfect place, Ron. On the corner of a fucking triangle behind me.
Triangle?
Yeah, So basically, he soaked down Opie's area. Hey, coming up a little later on today, we have... Is it a TV show if it's on the web?
Yeah, it's a web series, I guess.
A web series, but it's like a TV show,
Yeah.
right?
It's both.
Of Delco proper, and it's so much fun for me to see this.
It's a blast. It is. It's so funny. Those guys are the best.
I can't wait to have them come in. I hope there's not a fist fight. If there is, Chris, you're taking one for the team.
All right, I'll go. I'll go with the Delco boys.
How far away are napkins? What kind of... Look, Chris, I want you to see that they're in the room that you're in right now. And that guy has been gone for fucking 10 minutes. Joe, you're in charge of him, and this is why Rubio is going to be our next fucking president.
Oh, God.
Because of fucking guys like you who... No, he never says... Rubio never brings it up. Was his mother a maid and his dad a bartender? He never says. I wish I knew what his parents did for a living. Seems like they come from real blue-collar stock.
It makes me trust him.
I don't like people who are running down what their parents' jobs were. You know what I mean?
My parents were pieces of shit.
Good, nice pieces of shit. And they instilled in me to go on to greatness. I passed these people when I was 9 years old. I was making more money than my dad and my mom put together.
They were shit, so I didn't have to be.
You're doing a kind of a Hillary Clinton because she went on there last night to remind everyone that black people and brown people and Chinese people and some Lithuanian people. She is the minority candidate. And I'm like, where is that coming from? And I'm like, oh, because later she's going to kick in with women. But right now, like, even behind her, it looked like there wasn't a white person in Florida. She was just surrounded by black and brown people. And like, one was like a Muslim woman. I'm like, you're literally going out of your way. Because there's not a lot of Muslim women down in Florida.
No,
but they took the one they found and they shoved her right up behind her.
It just looks like Sesame Street behind her. Every character they could get.
By the way, where do you go for your political news? Because I was bouncing around and getting a little annoyed last night.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's always difficult because when it comes to the internet, I feel like I always go for BBC, like always, because I feel they're trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as watching the news, I have to bounce around because each station drives me nuts in different ways. Like, you can feel the sway on each of them. So you kind of have to turn on MSNBC, Fox, CNN, and then go between and then find your own truth somewhere in there because you can't.
I'm actually leaning into the CNN, which is less shrieky and less trying to predict the future.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what is this going to mean if this happens, if this happens? I'm like, you're in the big story right now. Why are you bringing up the 15th? This is the story. If you just repeat it, like just saying Virginia's too close to call is an exciting football game. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's all you need to do. You don't need to start trying to figure out if Rubio wins it, what will Trump do 2 weeks? Just fucking report tonight's news.
I've always found it interesting when a news station will project a winner and they'll do it too early. What is the rush of doing something like that? Because it's always
you got to be first.
Yeah, but who remembers that? The next day, does it?
Like, they were 5 seconds ahead of Fox, and I don't care that they got it wrong.
Yeah, it seems like the end result of being wrong is way worse than beating the other network.
All right, Joe, where do you go? And if anybody wants to jump into this too, for your whether it's a show or a network, because this is another thing, and there are certain times of the year that I'll watch certain sports channels or sports shows, and not other times of the year. You know, or like really, I don't need to watch a screaming sports show on a Tuesday of football season.
Right.
I'll watch them on a Friday and a Monday, and then take the rest of the week off from them and then, baseball, stop screaming in June. I'm going to be back with you guys in the fucking playoffs. But I don't want to hear the Mets have collapsed and it's not fucking June 1st yet. It's crazy. So, Joe, I'm going to ask you first, but anybody can jump into this. I want shows to watch for this season because it's a very exciting race. Not so much with the Dems after last night, but there were some serious wins by the guy. But he doesn't stand a chance in hell. But the Republican Party literally is talking about maybe splitting in half over this Trump thing rather than giving it to him.
Really?
It's fucking, last night was lunatic talk. All right, 844 Rock God, 844 Rock God. Where do you go for your political news this time of year? 844 Rock God. Give us a call. Joe, what about you?
So I have three main sources for me. Typically, if it's like breaking news, I'll go to CNN.
Why CNN for breaking news?
CNN, I think they're just the ones I've settled on over the years.
See, that's no reason. That's just like saying it's on. All right, so where else do you go?
I go to dailymail.co.uk for my news. I
don't want anything but TV news. We all know where to go on the internet.
Oh, Al Jazeera was another one I went to.
But they're
before
not even
they went
around
under.
anymore.
Yeah.
They got fucking shit canned because you and your Minnesota brethren are fucking Rubio fans.
I had no idea that you were such a Rubio supporter.
Yeah, Rubio.
Now, Vito, where do you go for your hand towels and napkins? All the way down the hall or right over there in the corner where they normally are?
I went over to the kitchen to get a nice big stack of them.
Why did you have to be yelled at by him to wake up?
I didn't see the water spilled. I didn't know.
He's not paying attention. You notice that he was just looking off
at the computer.
Yeah. No, he wasn't. He was looking down the hall. There must be a pretty girl or one of those interns that he's always got his goddamn eyeballs on. All right, I'm going to come back to you, Vito. Chris Stanley, where do drunk people go to get their news?
Last night, I was lined in with New York 1. I was watching New York 1 the entire time for all.
Even for something that, national? I mean, yeah. Here's my problem with New York 1. I don't want to see what people walking down the street in Queens think. I mean, there are there's nothing funnier than if there's some kind of, now that it's all about the slashings.
Right.
They go and they ask people about the slashings like they're going to find a positive face slashing guy.
I'm against it.
Yeah. Some of these people, they deserve a slasher too. Here's Chris. Chris in Phoenix. What do you got for me?
Hey, I was tuned into Fox because of Megyn Kelly. I mean, I can listen to her talk about anything. Genital warts, doesn't matter. She's smoking hot.
You like the haircut, though?
No, I hate the haircut. I thought she looked way better before. I don't know. It's a little aggressive bob.
It's a sassy bob she got going on there.
My mom went with the idea of manly. My folks are turning off the Fox. That's how mad they are. Fox. They're picking Trump over Fox, which is stunning to me.
I never thought that would be the case. Yeah. I never did. But
you know what I like to do with my folks?
What's that?
I don't know. Maybe Bernie Sanders is the best choice. You're not going to have any money! Mom, I'm not going to need money. Everything's going to be taken care of by a socialist government. I just do that for their blood pressure to get them up and moving a little bit.
It's good for them.
Having a little bit of fun. So you go to New York 1, a fucking TV station that you can see from your fire escape.
I was watching The Call last night, listening to local New York. I swear to God, listening to local New Yorkers give their take on Trump and Hillary. And they did not.
Listen, The Call has its place in the world. You know I love New York 1.
And when we get to the moving here, sure. We want to be on New York 1, but they're nowhere near coming here. You need to find out what was going on with the people of Virginia last night. What a big crazy race that Trump eventually won. And then, of course, the weirdness of Texas and Oklahoma now deciding that they're just one big state. And going with Cruz. Cruz actually called on the other candidates to kind of look to God and quit the race. He basically said that they should pray on it And then he knows what the answer to the prayer is because he hears the answer of the prayer.
Right.
You, Ted Cruz, you're trusted. Very trusted. Here, and that's it for you? Just New York one?
Or Shepard Smith on Fox News. I like watching Shep.
And tell everybody why you like watching Shepard Smith.
Because I see him smoking outside all the time.
He loves
seems like
that.
a cool dude.
And then he'll say to me,
Shep.
he's a great guy. I would agree with you, but he doesn't always host that. Like he's got a 5 o'clock show.
Yeah, it's 5
So he's a great breaking news guy to go to because he's kind of trusted himself. He doesn't go crazy with it. It looks like he had a strong journalism class where he doesn't try to yell out, "It looks like all the children are dead." You know how they'll do that?
Yeah.
Sure.
He'll take his time and goes, "There are some reports and some rumors, but we're not going to go to them yet." Shepard is a professional guy and not exactly just conservative news guy. Like, he was the guy down in New Orleans that says, "Look, this isn't right. Where are the fucking troops?" Everyone got mad at him.
It's a voice of reason.
But he was like, "There should be some troops here. What is wrong with the president?" And everyone was freaking out, pissed at that, all his coworkers. But he was like, "No, seriously, there should be some troops here." Kevin, North Carolina.
What's up, Ronnie B?
Yeah.
In the morning, you got to love Morning Joe. I hate MSNBC, but that show, if you're a junkie, you got to love it.
It is for the political junkies because these guys on Morning Joe, they cover it like it's a sporting event. Certainly, they are the best people to go when the election is happening or the day after, as you try to break it down.
Absolutely.
And they're the only people, and I'm totally serious about this, that were on the Trump saying, "Hey, this Trump thing is serious. I mean, you're treating it as a joke." Yeah. And they did that from the beginning.
And Cavuto's great, too.
Cavuto is another guy that Chris sees outside.
Yeah.
He's the only Fox guy that you'll see go out for a dog or something.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he just wanders around the neighborhood. Most of those guys will jump in a car.
Now,
He's eating a few hot dogs.
Now, who do you like from MSNBC? Is there anyone that you like that you feel?
Joe Scarborough. I mean, the rest of them are pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Rachel Maddow's real smart.
I got to kind of agree that the morning show is the last place that it gets shrieky. Rachel Maddow, I do agree that she's smart, but she also, this is the same way that people complain about Bill O'Reilly, does the news the way that she would like it to turn out, or,
Right.
It's just saying this is not, the American people will rise up. We don't want you to guess on what you care about, what you think is going to happen in the future. Just give us the facts, lady.
I think that she is very smart. She's an intelligent woman. I don't like when she gets into silly time, when she tries to play up the goofiness, and it really bugs me. But there are people on that network, like Lawrence O'Donnell.
Yeah.
I can't with that dude.
He's a Philly guy, too.
He drives me up a wall.
He's out of his mind.
He's actually crazy. I watched him do a piece on Oscars So White that made me feel like, okay, nobody gets Oscars. Like, I was so annoyed with it. It would make, even if you agreed with the point, you would have changed your mind just to be against what he was saying.
He should be wrapped in a carpet and put in a room.
And it's like
that little kid.
And then they keep him. They bring the fighter pilot, Brian Williams back. They bring.
By the way, that's the reason why I turned off MSNBC last night, because he tries to be a movie star version of what a newsman is.
He really bugs me. And then they're keeping those two, and then they toss away, Alex Wagner, and then that Melissa Harris Perry. Those chicks go, but we get to keep these dudes. Why?
This is like Brian Williams. As the sun sets on another election night, we go down to Joey Jojo in Alabama, home of really one of the great all-time barbecue pits. If you stop in there, tell Sal and Billy Bob that that you gotta have a side of coleslaw with it. You're like, shut the fuck up,
I know.
homespun.
And now
shut your big homespun mouth.
And then now him sitting next to Rachel Maddow, like, she does a pretty good job covering it, but there's a little glint in her eye that you can see, like, she hates him, and she hates that she has to share the mic with that dude.
Everybody hates when that, because they don't need him there. It's like,
she doesn't need him at all. There's no reason.
Imagine how we would feel if they said, hey guys, there's something important going on, so we're going to throw this person in with you to co-host today. Right. You're just like, why? You know what I mean? Were we so fucking stupid? Well, then we'll leave if it's breaking news.
He doesn't bring any political insight to the conversation, and she's not so bad at broadcasting that she needed him there. There's no reason he's sitting there.
No, she's okay with broadcasting. My beef with her is, like I said, she wants to believe something is going to happen and feels like the American people, well, that just say what's happening right now. And they'll say like stuff about Trump, like, how has he conned the American people? As if they don't think the American people have seen what's going on and trust. Now, this is the big story that broke last night, and it's kind of being patted down because there's so much other information. But 6 newspapers in New Jersey banded together for one editorial asking Chris Christie to step down as governor of their state because he's not being the governor of their state. He's dropped out of the presidential election, but now he's flying around and doing as much as he was before.
Right.
And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, the dude's going for a new job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're basically, it's like when your wife is saying, hey, you're spending a lot of time with that chick from work. You know what I mean? You two are working late a lot. She's, she ain't stupid. Neither is the state of New Jersey. So when 6 newspapers in the state, who are not even all under the same, corporation, band together and said, look, I'll say this to the newspapers in Jersey. You're too late with this. You should have did it when he fucking crossed the river into Philadelphia and got in the Dallas Cowboys owner's box. That's the fucking day that you should have lined up the National Guard on the fucking Walt Whitman Bridge and not let them back into Jersey. That's the day you fucked up. But I couldn't, I couldn't believe that story. And you saw him go down with Trump. He looked uneasy.
Yeah.
He's standing behind him, which isn't a place that he normally is. You know what I mean? And yet he was there. I don't know what he's promised by Trump, but he better be right because the entire Republican party at the top is doing everything they can do to make sure Trump doesn't get this.
Yeah, if this ends up falling apart on Trump, Christie is going to look, he's going to be out there.
He's going to look the same way that Aaron Rodgers looked when he was standing behind Olivia Munn the other night at the Oscars. Like, it's not your night. You know what I mean? It is not where you belong. All right, so The Life of Brian is written to me that it's all Gannett newspapers with a shared editorial. All right, good call on that. Gail says she always goes to BBC. I think I heard Ron's heart sink. No, I don't care where anyone gets their news from, not even if it's New York One.
Thank you.
Like with Chris, I'm just saying there's times for it. And they're not exactly going to do the best story on which way Virginia or Alaska is going to go because they're New York One.
Right. But why would anyone's heart sink for BBC? Is there something I don't understand?
I guess the fact that you're so anti-American right now. New Jersey's own Hard Rock Johnny.
I would agree. Get rid of that fat bastard.
Christie?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Now, Why? Because he's running around doing stuff, or because he came out against teachers?
Look, that's the whole nother story, because my wife's pension will probably now be non-existent when she retires because of that bastard was eating too many burgers with it.
All right, come on.
Yeah, and he had the most unsuccessful weight loss surgery ever, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, you had a successful one.
I did.
That's what I hear.
You did it good.
Yeah.
Now, why? I agree, first of all, that the whole cowboy thing should have really been the tipping point, but that's another, shows up in Green Bay, all that shit.
It was terrible.
But, he bows out of the race, and now he's standing behind Donald Trump like some Humpty Dumpty specter, just standing there with a stupid expression on his face. No clue as to what he's doing, just standing there. Why does he need... obviously he's trying... I don't think he's a vice presidential pick. If Trump's going to have to pick someone who knows D.C.
The rumor is Attorney General.
Yeah, it would be Attorney General. Yeah, that would be his thing. But, I don't know. It's just he's not governing the state. And the other thing that people hate is just he's very pompous. Like, they were asking him questions and he says, I won't answer them. And he said, why? He said, because I'm not. That's not, or when he said to the woman, what do you want me to go get a mop and help them mop up their floors?
See, that shit makes me laugh. I kind of think that's funny.
Yeah, but that's not, it does have its place, but not when you're the leader of a state. You should not be. That shouldn't be your answer to the people who voted for you.
It was a very ridiculous response. What do you want me to do? You want a mop?
Want me to get a mop? He wasn't saying that when he was on the front page of the newspaper. Yeah. After Superstorm Sandy, when he was, he was America's governor for a little bit. He wasn't saying that shit then because the news cameras were there. But when in a one-on-one, a small setting, he'll say what he needs to say.
Dude, this is about money and nothing else. Why don't you just admit it?
It's about paper, about them coins.
That bank.
And as for the news,
shit out of me. Seriously. By the way, have you seen the picture of Jeter's chick?
No.
As the March cover girl. It's up on the iBank today. It may be the tiniest bikini I've ever seen in my life. Now, is there a name, Gail, for a bikini that only covers the nipple and nothing else? Does that have an actual name?
I don't know. That is some sort of bikini pasty hybrid.
Right, that's right. If I were going to name it now, like if I was in marketing for them, I would probably call it the Hamada Hamada Hamada. Do you have any Hamada Hamada Hamadas?
It's kind of like a nipple-kini.
Nipple-kini is a good one. Chris, you want to try something?
Nipsey Russell?
All right. What? That's fucking racist, dude.
Yeah, she's white.
And he's dead.
Jesus, Chris.
You want to live on, don't you?
Sharpling's right.
Sharpling's right about nothing.
Oh, Jesus, she's so hot. Look at that girl.
Are you jacking?
Johnny!
No, she's just so hot.
I know, but you were doing your fucking creepy Jack voice.
Johnny!
She's so hot.
This is supposed to be a safe place for me, Johnny.
Damn, that Nipsey Russell bikini is ridiculous.
All right, look at what some of these people wrote on the iBank. He looks at her like an attractive penis warmer. She's never walked on balls. And then Soda Man just says, Jeter's probably tired of railing her by now.
Why?
They love these because they think that Jeter is like Iron Man, but Iron Man when he doesn't have his iron suit on.
Exactly.
That guy doesn't have a name. Isn't that weird? No one knows what to call him until he puts the suit on. And then they say it's Iron Man. But he himself does not have a name. Well, that's up on the iBank today. And Christy, the reason why I know about it, Christy said, I just spanked to this last night. Johnny, is Trump going to get the nomination?
I don't see how he can't at this point, and I don't think the party could do any kind of a contested, convention, because if they get him out, he's just going to run as an independent and then totally screw.
He basically has been saying that now. He's been making the threat of fuck with me, but I'm hearing from people that they'd rather take the collar on the election than let him win. It would be better that they lost the election than if he won.
Right. And make a go at it again in 4 years.
No, just to keep their power.
Right.
Just what they want is their own fucking power, and they'd rather not have the presidency and keep running their party than they would be to have Trump become the nominee. But I think it's a dangerous thing. Like, suppose we all said this. All right, we're having an election, right? Mm-hmm. And then I voted. Let's say we were all going to pick our favorite color. I said red. Chris said blue, and Joe and Gail and Vito all said green. And then if I said, okay, well, you guys are barely being in radio, so me and Chris are going to talk this over. You guys are going to spend the rest of your time. It's like, why did you ask me? And that's the thing. Why are we having an election?
Right.
If the majority of the voters don't matter, and if you vote for Trump and all the people who went out and stood in line to see him talk, whether you agree with him or not, you kind of owe them their enthusiasm. You know what I mean? Because you're saying, sign up as a lifetime Republican, and we're all going to take this thing together. But if I said, now that you've done that, your enthusiasm and your vote and your opinions don't count, and we're going to go over to the side and figure out a good person for you, you're going to be pissed.
Yeah, and you're showing your hand so much because you're saying, when our puppeting doesn't work,
right,
then we'll just find some other way. I mean, it's very blatant then that when we hand you the candidates that we want and you choose something else, then we don't support you.
And here's the thing to me. I put up the go to Nate Silver for the last election, and we'll see which way each state went. Okay. Because Ted Cruz is in second, right? And he won Texas and Oklahoma, I think maybe Alaska last night. Mm-hmm. None of those things are going to go the way of any Republican who's running.
Right.
You know, the southern states, which Ted did not win, you pretty much have as a lock. But if you turn around and try to say, this is from the last election, not from anything that's happening right now. This is you can go get, or you can do it anywhere on Google, Chris. Just the way the states broke the last election. Now, if I'm looking at this, the thing that Trump would bring to the Republicans is, I think that he has a strong case in all the mid-Atlantic states. I'm saying Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina. Those states that are kind of on the bubble and going blue, you got a real shot at. And you got a shot with Ohio and Florida.
He's got a shot with New York, which hasn't been Republican in forever. He still has a shot in New York.
Can you imagine Cruz having a shot in New York or Pennsylvania? No, it just doesn't exist. And Rubio, I mean, why are we still even talking about him? This is a fucking two-person race. It's between Cruz and Trump.
Right.
And anything else is stupid. When I saw Cruz talking last night, I'm like, well, he'd never have my vote, but he's fucking right. If they really want a guy who has a chance to beat Trump, it's him. Not this fucking Minnesota fucking one-hit wonder. I mean, not everybody's fucking freezing cold and ice fishing for pike, you know?
But it's exactly what you brought up yesterday, is that, you know, they're not going to drop out. No one's going to drop out because they don't believe that this is going to happen.
Because the Republicans have told them somebody's going to get this, right?
Right.
If the Republican Party doesn't say, hey, somebody's going to get this, none of those dudes would probably be hanging around. Probably only Cruz would be hanging around right now. You certainly wouldn't be expecting donors to give a guy who won one thick, dumb state out of 14 states money, right? He should be able to raise money, and they're going to give him like $20 million for Florida. And I checked with Florida friends last night. They think it's Trump country.
Really?
Now, it's 2 weeks away, and you saw how they acted like, you know, the last couple of days that Trump was in the KKK or whatever bullshit story they're making up. So, I mean, it's like they'd rather blow money than get behind Trump. He won 7 states last night. This is the time that the party would normally go around and say to the other people, hey, you see that Hillary's already pivoting and she's doing a national election against Trump instead of against Bernie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's time for us to do that. No?
By the way, this morning on my way here, I saw a girl walking down the street, young girl, and I think she was periscoping. And I just catch just like a moment of her conversation. She's holding the phone up, Stanley style, walking down the street. And she's just going, now, guys, how do you feel that Trump won 7 states? Like, that's all I'm getting. And I'm just like, who is getting the news from this, like, 20-year-old moronic child? But I was just
Probably
like,
10 people.
I was so fascinated, like, who is in this room right now? How do you guys feel? Like, she was so shocked that would happen.
That's how I get all my news. Is that girl? I know who you mean. She's my news. That's my news of choice. The girl, Periscope girl, we call her.
Well, you voted for Christie last election.
Did not. Barbara Bono the year when he ran against her, and who did he run in 2009? It was Corzine. I voted for those. Those were my votes. I have never voted for Chris Christie.
You're now. Do you have to vote out loud in New Jersey, or
yes? You actually walk in and you declare. You stand on a stage and you have to use a megaphone.
And if
I vote.
If you're a union, you got to be kind of quiet. You're in a union, you got to go. I vote for the Republican. What did you say? Democrat. Vote for the Democrat.
Yeah.
Can anyone here, and like, I don't think anyone's completely made up here, right? Is anyone 100% sure, like, this is my only candidate, or is everybody still open? Because as anyone here can even picture themselves voting for Cruz?
No. It's fucking crazy town.
Could anyone here not picture themselves voting, at least considering Donald Trump?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a world where I would vote for Cruz. There isn't.
Now, other than
even in Earth 2.
Other than Joe, could anyone imagine voting for Rubio?
Definitely not.
I couldn't. I could not fucking vote for Rubio.
The lightweight choker?
Exactly.
He's a little sad man. Fuck him. He's getting $20 million.
Now, what about Kasich? Could you picture yourself with that nice middle of the road Ohio guy? He's got a lot of. I think he's like a guy. Like, if the party got behind him, right? I'd be saying, I can understand.
Yeah, there's something very reasonable about him.
He's a reasonable guy. He's a good guy. He doesn't look like a maniac. You know what I mean?
He doesn't talk like a maniac.
So why aren't they getting behind him? Why are they getting behind Rubio?
I don't know. Why would you say this candidate can be even bro-weirder than Trump, and he'll play up to the exact
it's
same.
embarrassing.
Why not? And I said this before, just in the debates that they were having. Why are they trying to attack him and then say all he does is attack people? Kasich plays it perfectly, but nobody's supporting him, and that's just like, hey, I'm going to present facts and reason and hope just sanity prevails with you.
He almost took another state last night, too. He plays very well in the Northeast.
Yeah, Vermont, right?
Yeah, whatever they are.
I think he got.
It should all be just one state. But you know what? If this was the best show, I'd be saying Rubio was luckiest guy in the world.
Yeah, it's true.
What was the premise last night?
It was, luckiest person in the world. So they've done a lot for themselves with the small amount of talent that they have.
I would say Chris Stanley for not ODing.
Thank you.
Right.
But
so lucky. But then I think he got a little muddled because some people were just calling with people they just generally hate, which I don't think is true.
Well, when I was listening, I thought that the Hasselhoff, that the fact that Hasselhoff, who no one has ever called a good actor,
right,
or even likable, had 2 hit TV shows,
right?
And a singing career in Germany.
Right.
I mean, a major fucking singing career in Germany.
Mind-blowing.
Did you ever see the picture of him when he sang next to the Berlin Wall? It looked like fucking wall stock. So that's who was on for me. I'm like, I wonder if I should call in and just say Hasselhoff.
You should have.
I never know. I mean, you two were being cranky. I thought you both might turn on me. Chris, who would it be for you? Luckiest person alive.
Kanye. He's garbage. He thinks he's a fucking fashion goddamn designer?
He's $53 million in debt. What's so good about that?
That's
Joey
nice.
actually had didn't you clock him doing something weird, Joey? You said that, was it you that said there was something on his computer?
Oh, well, he just got caught using illegal torrents.
There was was a video of him or something?
Yeah, it was a picture of him downloading an audio software.
And especially when he's involved in the other thing. What's he involved in? It's
Tidal, yeah, and there's a whole lawsuit going on there. And also, people have illegally pirated his latest record, and he's lost like $15 million doing that.
Why would he be so dumb to even run the risk of this? I mean, I know he's $53 million in debt, so he's watching where his money goes. But that's just insane.
He was using the Pirate Bay, which is like the #1 fucking bootlegging torrent site on the internet.
That dude behind walked by us is famous for some reason. I don't know what it is. It always drives me crazy. Either that or I went to high school with him. I can never tell.
I hate when that happens.
Michelle 1L. Michelle 1L. Hey. Who did you pick as your luckiest?
I said last night Michael Strahan was my luckiest.
Yeah, and then they tried to turn it on you and say that people loved him.
But I think Scheibling was cooking the books, because I think people were actually really agreeing with me. Because I went back to find that tweet, and the guy actually said he was saying he was ridiculous.
You know what? He was testing you. He was seeing if you could handle some heat. You know,
I took it. I took it well.
Yeah, you took it well. I mean, you could have folded it like a Chris Stanley.
And I did.
I'll say to Chris, there's a bad tweet about you. He lays down in his soaked up fucking towel over there.
It's soaking still.
Remember when
expression on his face?
Remember when Vito wasn't paying attention to you, and then he ran down the hall instead of across the room and got the paper towels that are always there?
Be cognizant of your fucking environment. That's what I always try to say.
But then why'd you knock over the fucking water? You piece of garbage. Stanley actually sent in this story today, and people were saying, where can you see that girl in the tiny bikini? What's the name of that?
Jeter's girlfriend is Maxim's March cover girl.
She may be the most... Here's a mistake, though, she made. I saw her talking.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen her talking.
Yeah, I did.
It's like that other blonde. Remember that...
Upton?
Yeah, Upton. It's like suddenly for the first time people heard her talk, and they're like,
ruined it.
We don't like Upton anymore. We thought she was a goddess.
Well, I don't know what it is. And when you see a model, you make your own... You kind of put the personality of the best girl that you ever met. Like your favorite girl personality with that. I don't know why we do it.
And you put a certain voice on her, and she sounds confident, or she sounds cool, or whatever that thing is to you.
You do it subconsciously. You don't go, I'm going to try to give her a great personality, but you give her a personality right away.
And then instead, she's just like, this is my gold bikini. It's so cute. I just think it's like the cutest. Do you love it? You're like,
Roman.
This is over.
You ruined it. All I wanted you to do, you know you're not going to get her, so just keep the fucking fantasy going.
Shh, sweet darling, shh. Never speak.
Nobody ever wanted to see, Axe and Smash without the fucking makeup on. You didn't want to see them go, I can't believe I'm being turned down for this loan. You want to see them smashing and axing.
When I saw the Blurred Lines girl in the Entourage movie, I ended up just fucking hating her. The brunette.
What Blurred Lines girl?
He was in love with that.
Emily Ratajkowski.
Yeah. Do you know who she is? Do you not know that the Blurred Lines had a very famous...
I remember the video. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
She was very...
brunette.
Yes.
And then the other thing about her is, like, you think that she has super big breasts, but the truth is she weighs about 80 pounds.
Right.
So, like, a fucking B cup is enormous on her. It's actually hurting her back. Now, by the way, Vito, you are supposedly the wrestling guy, right?
Yeah, I love wrestling.
Why didn't you bring in who was going into the WWE Hall of Fame this year?
Well, they haven't completed the class yet, so I thought we would want, like, a complete...
What could be as important as who is going in?
Well, we just don't have a complete class. But this new announcement is pretty controversial.
Could be as important as who's gone in. Tell everybody who's gone in. The Fabulous Freebirds, which are the fucking greatest.
In Texas, this is huge.
No, in America, this is huge. Anyone who cares about that, anyone who ever seen them cut, they were the original, those guys in Flair were the original guys to cut promos, and the Fabulous Freebirds were the first dudes. No, you got to go for video. Anything with them and Gordon Soley will fucking do for me. But those were the first guys to use music to walk to the ring.
Really?
Nobody else did it before them. Yeah, they came in the fucking Freebird, and everybody in the South used to go crazy. And they were like a tag team, but there was 3 of them, which is fucking hysterical. You really can't find video of them.
All right, here's the Freebirds.
Make sure it's a good one. They're cutting a promo.
Good to be here, guys. First of all,
turn it now. I don't want to see him after a match. I want him to see him come in to cut a fucking promo. That's the important thing. I don't care how they wrestled. That's with the WWE. You got to find them down south, either Georgia, Florida, or Texas, because those guys were fucking hysterical. Tom in Philly wants to bring something up that Joe brought up. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, Bennington.
Hey.
I've followed Kanye for a while, and I think that he has a lot of similar storyline, and I know it's weird to compare him to Kinnison, but you know how Kinnison had the accident? He was a preacher before he had the accident, and then after the accident, he went kind of, well, okay, that kind of a thing. But Kanye had a similar kind of storyline where he had a terrible motorcycle accident before he became super famous, and he talks about it a lot in his early raps. And I think that, like, the TBI involved in that kind of has a lot to do with his behavioral issues.
You know, I mean, that's a huge leap, and it's almost like saying that you can guess why somebody's,
Right. I mean, there's a lot of things. Like, I know that he took his mother passing really hard, and that was a big turning point that I think he kind of went deeper. I think with any personality that they go kind of off the rails, the seed is there in the beginning. It's just time kind of ends up unraveling.
Because there's all kinds of people who come back from horrible things that happen, and some people will lose a bus seat and be fucking crazy.
Right.
You know?
Never got over it.
Do we know if this is a good one, Chris?
This is them debuting in Georgia. That's a good amount of hits.
Let's just say it.
Dimension and tag team competition in professional wrestling today.
Listen to the song.
Their spokesman is Mr. Michael Hayes.
That's right. Don't you ever forget Fabulous Freebirds. Ladies and gentlemen, you have seen all kind of great tag teams come through your area. And you have always seen 2 men compromise the tag team. But before your eyes, you do see 3. And Gordon,
all 3 of you?
That's right, all 3 of us. That means you never know. You can never plan your strategy down the T because there's 3 of us. It may be Buddy and I wrestling. It may be Terry and I. It may be Terry and Buddy. You never know. So you've always got to be on your toes because you understand we are the hot childs of the city. They do run wild and I do look pretty, baby. Get a close-up on that face, Gordon.
I wonder if you'd mind introducing...
Here, move on to some of the other, because I've seen Michael Hayes back in the day cut fucking amazing, crazy shit. But I just like that he's dropping the lyrics from Hot Child in the City, which is about time. Now, they used that fucking song until obviously they were stopped. And then I think they did their own song called Bad Street USA. So they were like a rock band and a mysterious 3-way tag team. You don't know who you're wrestling against.
Oh, no.
Seems kind of cheaty. God, you guys can't find fucking promos?
I'm finding them. Well,
you know how long it's been, though, dude? Just put it in there. Just put it in. Just put in anything. You're driving me fucking nuts.
Michael Hayes, Buddy Roberts, Terry Gordy. Gentlemen, tonight is the night here in Boston, the Moondogs. Are you ready?
The debut of Freebird Fantasia. The debut of Bad Street in Beantown. Talking about the Green Monster. Talking about Carl Yastrzemski. And now a whole new sports franchise coming to town. The cards and letter have come in for years and years, and we stopped the schedule.
We put a halt to the schedule to bring it to Beantown. Because, you know, there's a lot of people up there that run their mouths. Guy like Roddy Piper. You know, guy like Roddy Piper, you were the kind of punk that never came in the bathroom at school when we were in there. And the Moondogs. Reminds me of that old dog we used to have on the farm, Bam Bam.
Hey, you know, there's a lot of people out there in Boston that probably don't like us. We really don't care. There's probably a lot of people in Boston that like to cuss us, might even want to spit on us. Just go ahead, be ready to suffer the consequences. And that's right, you know, they do remind me of an old sheepdog I had one time. And this dog, he followed me everywhere I went, man. And one day I was out in the field and I was doing some stuff, and this dog snuck up behind me and he bit me, man. And when he bit me, I started kicking that dog like I ain't never kicked a dog before. And you know I don't mind getting nasty on a dog. Well, a dog sneaks up behind me and bites me.
That is a well-known fact. Buddy Roberts, your thoughts?
Well, okay, we come in here and they're putting us against the top Moondogs. Well, if you ever gave it a thought, Moondogs, when we put our boots on and we put it right there, you're going to end up on the moon, boys.
Right where?
Born on the planet Rock in a city they call Party Town, raised up on a street they call Bad Street, and the reason they called it bad was the further you went down the block, the better it got, and it's going to be bad in the garden tonight.
Tonight, Boston Garden.
Hayes. See, this is
Hayes is the best.
Yeah, he's the best, but this was a difference between to me, that kind of PG rated fucking WWF, and then the Southern stuff, which was dudes who went out and drank and did coke and then were with people's wives, and then it came in the next day and put on a bad show for everybody. You know what I mean? And then bladed themselves and went crazy. Those guys were hilarious. It gets badder and badder as you go down the block. And you were waiting for other people after that? Who are you fucking waiting for? JYD to get in the second time? Is that what fucking makes you happy?
There's a big rumor of somebody going in this year.
What is it?
Sting.
Thank you. That's what you're waiting for.
Stink. That's what I call him.
Why don't you get up, fucking just stand in the rafters and expect to get paid? Go in the rafters with a fucking baseball bat and stay up there for 3 hours.
Fucking boy.
Please don't come down.
Come down real slow, be in a 5-second match.
He always bored me.
Sure. You know, if I can just head down to Bad Street. This is a good one here. But this is, remember Cyndi Lauper had it was either a boyfriend or whatever, so he was the one kind of responsible for bringing him in. But go ahead and hit this.
Female Entertainer of the Year, in my mind, Cyndi Lauper. Dave Wolf, welcome aboard. And I understand you've got even more in store for the fans of the World Wrestling Federation. I know they're going to find it as a big surprise.
Absolutely, Gene. It gives me great pleasure at this time to bring on the fabulous Freebirds to the World Wrestling Federation. Come on, guys.
All right, Katie,
Michael Hayes. I'm so excited. You know, there's a lot of people out there that know the Freebirds already. For those of you that don't, I'll lay it right down to you. Standing behind me, my big brother, 285 pounds of walking, talking, romping, stomping, graveyard destruction. Over to my left, my other brother, Buddy Roberts, 240 pounds of hot stuff, and he don't stop till he gets enough. And baby, what you're looking at is 250 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. Mama, I'm so doggone bad you think I'm unreal. Put it all together, and it's 740 pounds of Fantasia, the baddest wrestling team ever assembled. And you know, there's a lot of people knocking rock and roll, man.
Well,
a lot of people are knocking us because of the way we are, the way we were brought up on Bad Street. I'm talking about Bad Street, USA. The further down the block you went, the better it got. And baby, we lived in the last house. And if you don't like our long hair, they can just leave these long-haired country boys alone.
I like rock and roll, gentlemen,
No doubt
for the
about
record.
that. You know, I know there's a lot of competition right here to WWF. It's happening all over the world. We're looking forward to facing all the competition. I know there's a bunch of nasty individuals out there, but you've got to realize we don't mind getting nasty ourselves if that's what it takes.
Terry, whatever you say, buddy, quickly.
Hey, all I got to say is, Dave, we're not going to let you down, ever. The reason we're not going to let you down is because we've never let us down.
The Freebirds are here. Stay tuned.
I love they walk out and just stand right in front of them.
No, they're fucking hilarious. And I know a lot of people are saying bad things about rock and roll. It's like 1983. No one. It's the most accepted fucking art form of the day. It's not 1956 where this became a problem. Now, a lot of people don't like us. That's always funny. I feel like, but anytime that they get off of Michael Hayes, I'm like, it's like the same way if I'm listening to Legion of Skanks. I'm like, dudes, shut up. You got Big J there. You know what I mean? Just stand next to him. We need to break here, Chris, or we staying on?
Yeah, we'll stay on.
Which are we doing? Are we breaking or staying?
No, we're going to break. We're going to break.
Are you just trying to guess what I want to say or no?
No, we're going to break.
Tell everybody who's coming up next.
Adam Glenn from TMZ, his new show, South of Wilshire, is on Fox affiliates in select cities around the country. Go to southofwilshire.com.
No, Chris is trying to be like professional rather than a person. We have known Adam for a couple of years because he would be with TMZ and around all the paparazzi outside. And now he went from that to having his own TV game show. He's a success story and also a really great kid and a really hardworking guy. I mean, I know a lot of people might think whatever they think about TMZ, but I never saw him do anything that was like the old school thing that people used to hate the Pops for. He's a really fun guy, really nice guy. He's great on camera and now wrote his own game show that got greenlit everywhere. It comes on like 5:30 at night here in New York City, but it's playing all over the world. We're right back with Adam. It's the Bennington Show.
Welcome back to Bennington. Adam Glenn from TMZ is in studio. You can watch his new game show, South of Wilshire, on Fox affiliates in select cities around the country. Go to southofwilshire.com for times and more information. And on Twitter, it's at Adam Glenn.
Now, not only does he host the show, you created this show.
I'm one of the producers. It was Harvey Levin's idea from TMZ, and then I helped mold it with him. We kind of said, like, this is how you need to do the show.
Right.
But it's pretty insane, like, hosting a game show. I never thought I'd be actually doing this, and it got picked up. Fox picked it up. We did 68 episodes total, but we're only airing 40 for this season, and it airs 5 days a week. So that's why we did so many episodes.
Wow.
So it's pretty insane.
Well, it's also insane how kind of you broke the way that a game show is supposed to be done. It's not flashy. There's not all kinds of colors shooting back and forth.
Yeah, everyone thinks that TV needs to be all show busy, all flashy in a studio, but this is not a big, expensive show, but the show it's basically about doing we do the show in a legendary soul food restaurant in Los Angeles, Doolin's on Crenshaw. And, we could do it at a studio, but it's more fun and more real doing it in a restaurant. And the thing about our game show that makes a difference, when you see other game shows, you don't see the audience, like you hear them in Wheel of Fortune, you hear them go, oh, but you actually see the people's faces and then they get pissed off and when they get the answer wrong, if they know the ansser, they get excited and it's just more real.
And they're also
like a big party too.
Yeah,
it's a party. You notice I hate on some of the shows like Wheel of Fortune, they win $1,000 and they just start clapping. They're winning $1,000. Dance, and these people get excited. They dance. The contestants make the show, and also the businesses, kind of like for the premise of the show, they make the show as well.
Well, when you're saying for people around the country, when you say South of Wilshire, what exactly do you mean by that? Like, why is that the name?
So Wilshire is Wilshire Boulevard in LA, and the one side of it, north of it, is Rodeo Drive, Hollywood, all like the bougie type places in Los Angeles. South of it is Englewood, Compton, Watts, Crenshaw, Long Beach, Carson, Torrance, and it's more normal. A lot of mom and pop businesses, I think businesses that everyone can relate to. But celebrities actually go to these places. They don't always go to these bougie places. They go to these little small taco places, and that's the places that we showcase off. These places are places that are kind of stuck underneath the Hollywood bubble, and now they're getting this great exposure, and they're having fun and showing that they exist. And we talk about where they're located and stuff like that, and they also give us clues about celebrities that frequent their place. And what happens is we take those clues to a room full of people, Doolin's on Crenshaw, and we have 3 contestants trying to guess who the celebrity is based on the businesses giving clues. And at the end of every episode, we don't just have the businesses give clues. We have celebrities giving clues about themselves. We have Ronda Rousey on the show. We have Shaq on the show. Mariah Carey's on the show. Rick Ross, DMX, Akon, Christina Milian. So it's fun.
I was thinking no one was going to get Ray J. I was like, I don't think anyone's going to get Ray J, but they got him.
He's huge. Yeah. People love him down there. You know, in Los Angeles, like, he's like a star. I mean, look what he's done. He's got there's like other shows that try to do like these celebrity name games, but the people we get are more interesting. Like, I don't care about Deborah Messing. Great actress, but there's nothing interesting about her. Ray J is interesting. Like, there's more content. There's more fun things to talk about with him. So that's what makes this show. It's a fun show.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that what you've always thought of your audience as, too? Is like, do you think when you're trying to write up something or for your TV show, do you want to think that the people in that audience would get it?
I think, we're trying to keep it real, keep it young, fun. So I think we want to make it, that's where our audience, we're trying to keep it younger. Like, we have a lot of rappers on the show, but it's more people that are interesting. And the more of, they have, obviously the guy behind the show is Harvey Levin. So his name is kind of associated with TMZ and TMZ stories. So a lot of the celebrities that kind of like you might see on TMZ stories are kind of the celebrities we kind of get on the show. Like some rappers, like my parents don't know who Rick Ross is, but most people, a lot of other people do. So,
well, Harvey, the New Yorker just tried to do that story on him that everybody would wait in all the time. I read it, and at the end of it, I'm like, Harvey's even smarter and more driven than I thought.
He changed the game. He changed the game, not the way you just see pop culture news, but regular news. And this is my theory on it. Now, I'm not speaking on behalf of TMZ. I'm just thinking my theory of it. TMZ is changed the way you see news. It used to be reporters. They would say, what happened? And then they tell the general public, this is what happened. What happened? This is what happened. Now he brought back journalism into media. He said, what happened? And then they question stories. That's what TMZ does. They say, what about this? What about this? What about that? And we're able to make stories from the stories and also break news. And everyone wants to break the news. That's why you see the word exclusive a lot now. You see the word exclusive, breaking story. Everyone wants to break news and beat each other to the story. They're proactive journalists.
Well, and then you're saying that he does that on the air. You can watch them try to put the story together on the air.
They're machines. They're not sitting back and waiting for the story to come to them. They're going after the story. Here's an example. Last night, obviously I work as a video reporter for TMZ. I run around the streets. And Will Smith is in New York City. I got Will Smith last night. Now, Will Smith is kind of frequent. Now everyone's talking about him with the Oscars and stuff. And he hasn't really done any interviews. And I went up to, instead of waiting around, I'm the first Will Smith interview. The only problem is Will Smith didn't talk to me. But, his actions when I was trying to ask him questions about it, he didn't talk to me. So I'm like, he's always like a jolly guy, Will Smith. Yeah. We always see him. He's always having fun. Nice. He's funny. He's giggling. And I know he's not really into talking to the cameras and stuff like that. But I asked him and he was just kind of stone faced. Now he could have smiled when I asked him, hey, what do you think about the shade that, Chris Rock threw at Jada? And he could have smiled and kind of played it off like, hey, it's just fun and games, but he was stone faced. And to me, that kind of speaks for itself, he could have addressed it, or he could have just smiled and laughed it off, but him going stone face, it's like, dude, all right, we get it. You're not too, happy about it.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he's not. And really, it really came down to, it was just about him. No one else. No one was actually saying the guy's a beast of nation or whatever that movie. None of us got to see. It might be terrific, got snubbed, but none of us got to see that film. Take him out. Will Smith is a big star. His wife says, let's do something because basically he didn't get.
Yeah. I mean, Jada said, Will said he respects Jada's opinion, her decision, and he wasn't going to go either. And, but he's got to eventually talk about it. He's going to have to address it. And rather for me, waiting a few weeks later, I just found him and got him. And
where'd you see him at?
He was at Nobu last night. He was having dinner with Jerry Bruckheimer.
So when so that could be a movie.
That could be a movie. Who knows? There's a bunch of other people saw that.
But how do you know where to jump around around town.
See, it's different for me. Everyone has their own, like in LA, they have like a ton of guys. In New York, we only have 3 of us. So for me, I just kind of, I'll tell you about my days. It's a lot of luck, but it's a lot of just kind of knowing most people walk around with their faces down to the ground. I look around with my eyes up. It's hard for me to make eye contact with people because I'm constantly looking at faces. I'm a very good spotter. It's like a sixth sense to me. With that said, I usually start the day uptown and kind of move around and I just kind of move around, just kind of keep my head up. So how do I find these people? It's just kind of getting to know getting to know what to look for. For me, I know the people that kind of the publicists, I kind of recognize publicists and I recognize drivers, security guys for me. And I see some guy, I'm like, oh, that guy works with Jerry Bruckheimer. So it's kind of, and then also for me also, I have a lot of friends. I don't have tipsters because I don't want to say like, it's not these people like, no, they're my friends. So I have a lot of friends in New York City and they want to help me out. And also, but my way of people are like, oh, do you pay these tipsters? And for me, it's just like, I think a lot of people just like being a part of it, and they also like it depends on who the celebrity is because I don't get paid per shot. I get paid regardless. Right. So they want to, I get them, if it's a celebrity I know, like, hey, do you mind taking a photo of my friend? He's a huge fan of you. And I get them a photo with, and it's just kind of being in the know. But I also go to like the celebrity hotspots. Like if you stand in Soho long enough, I guarantee you a celebrity's going to walk by you. I guarantee it. I'm just aware of it. Most people aren't.
Yeah. Soho is definitely one of those places that if your eyes are up, you're going to catch
Stand on Prince and Mercer long enough, I guarantee you there's some celebrity walking by. Now, most people don't recognize them. I'm aware of it because that's my job. So I know what to look for. It sounds weird, but I just know usually Leonardo DiCaprio is the easiest guy to spot. Why? Because he wears a hat covering his face. And he's the only guy who wears that. He wears a hat like that. For me personally, honestly, I don't even go after a guy like Leo because I know he's not into, he's very private. And again, it doesn't really matter to me. I'd rather go for people that are more fun and more interesting. I'd rather go for a Rick Ross than a Deborah Messing.
Right.
All right, so let's suppose I knew that we had Obama coming in here,
sure.
Right? And I was going to give you a call. Could I say, I got a tip for you, but give me $100? Would you do that for me? Since we know each other.
I wish I had money to give you.
You really don't?
I don't. I don't have money to give you. I don't.
You could call Harvey and say, hey, this guy might have a hot tip.
Maybe. You know what? TMZ doesn't really... It's hard. They don't, from my eyes, they'll sometimes pay for footage. I don't think that's a hidden, that's not like any mystery or anything like that. They'll pay for footage and stuff like that. But for me, like, I don't really pay anybody. I don't really have the ability to do that. It's crazy, right? But again, it's honestly, I have so many friends in New York City. And I've made New York City, which is a big city, into a small city. Like I have a lot of contacts in the city. I know a lot of people where it kind of comes to me. Like for instance, like Will Smith last night, it kind of came to me. I even saw Will Smith again today. Got a photo with him. But it kind of comes to me. So for me, honestly, if you knew Obama, I mean, here's the thing. Obama's like a bad example. If you had Bill Clinton, it really depends. Like, would I pay you? No, but I would try to get you back. Here's what I try to go to people. I say, if you can meet Mike, I always say this to anybody I meet. If you can meet 3 celebrities, who would you want to meet? And I always remember who people want to meet. And for me, it's very, it's fulfilling to let people who I know, who are normal people, to meet the people they've always wanted to meet, to get a photo with them, to get an autograph, whatever they want to do to meet those people. For me personally, I love doing that, to make that happen. All the girls I know growing up, I'm from Jersey. All the girls I know want to meet Kim Kardashian. I've been able to like let girls I know introduce them to Kim Kardashian, get a photo with them, and to them it's so like they rather do that than get paid. To be honest with you, so I really don't even do that.
So the real news tip would be like if you immediately found out somebody died or was arrested, right? That's bigger than the kind of celebrity news. And this is
I'm always trying to break news.
This is the amazing thing about TMZ. They break these really big news stories and they beat everybody. And then when it's a slow news day, you end up with these silly, funny stories like they'll ask Mike Tyson a dumb question. And you'll end up watching the show and go, wait, nothing really happened during this half hour, We're just saying a lot of dumb stuff.
But that's the fun part about it. Like sometimes celebrities, people ask me, are the celebrities cool about it? And I'd say 90% of them are cool, and the other ones aren't really into it, which I respect, Like if you're not into it, I totally respect it. Again, I don't get paid per shot. I get paid regardless. So for me, but yet again, I want to produce. There's nothing more, there's nothing cooler than seeing your footage or interview with Jimmy Carter or Beyonce on TMZ.com. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. It's insane. So it's for me, I always try to break news, but if I see Mike Tyson or if I see some random celebrity, if I see Mario Lopez, he's not in the news for anything bad. I'd rather have a fun interaction with him.
Right.
So I always tell celebrities, hey, listen, you're not doing anything bad. Don't worry about it. You have nothing to worry about. Like, on the same interview that you're going to do for Jimmy Fallon, like, give me 30 seconds of your time. I promise you, it could be one of the biggest interviews you've done all day because TMZ is so big. They have the web presence and they have the TV presence. Yeah. So I'm like, give me a shot. I promise you have a good time. And through trial and error and kept, doing it, and over the years and years, a lot of celebrities will give me their time of day and they'll talk to me. They'll give me and I'd say, just give me 40 seconds. I promise you, you'll have a fun experience. And then they get done like, hey, that was pretty cool. You're a nice guy. What's your name? And I've been able to break a lot of these people down. But, again, I don't want to be the guy of bad news. I'm not trying to, and that's the thing. People always see TMZ. Oh, they go all scared. I'm like, dude, you have nothing to worry about. It's fun. It's funny.
It's not like the old, people right away compared you to the old yellow journalism things, but you never will turn on TMZ and see fake news or a lie news. It's always real. Like I said, sometimes it's not really news. It's just people going around. But, asking somebody a question about something else that's in the news. I remember one day, I think it might have been, maybe it was George Lopez, that he tells me a story on Unmasked. And then I see it from you guys out front, the same story. And I'm like, damn, I just got beat. You know what I mean? Because they went out immediately. Yeah. And my thing wasn't going to come out for another week, 2 weeks. I'm sure people like Fallon or Colbert feel that way all the time.
Unfortunately, I don't know how you put it, but it's like everyone's trying to beat each other too. Right. And trying to get the good quote and stuff like that. And I get it, and trust me, I love when guys like you or Opie and stuff like that get a good soundbite. I'm like, hey, send them my way. If I could put it on TMZ, that's newsworthy. I mean, again, it's cool that TMZ is like a site though, like, hey, if you guys get an amazing interview, they'll put your interview on air. They're not against that. They're all just trying to get traffic to the site, and, but it's interesting news, and they kind of like, I don't want to say dumb it down, but they dumb it down. They make it relatable. It's short, it's easy pieces to read. It's not cookie cutter. It's just real. They're not, and the best thing for me is for my job. If I ever wanted to do a talk show and I went to Oprah, if I went to LeBron James, I went to Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, I went to the publicist. I said, hey, I would love to get 2 minutes with your celebrity. They would say, they wouldn't even make another call. They'd be like, right there, the decision. No, I'm sorry, they can't do it. But for me, again, I struggled for a long time. I couldn't get a job for a long time. Interned here at SiriusXM. I went to school to be a teacher too. I just couldn't find the job. But I realized if I'm aggressive, but not too aggressive, but I'm also nice and also proactive, they will talk to me. And I go around the publicist because they're going to say no to me. I go right to the celebrity and they give me a great soundbite. Mm-hmm. Here's a great example. CBS one day had Oprah was going in, and Oprah was at CBS, and this was right during the Donald Sterling situation, right? The Donald Sterling case. CBS was told, hey, we're going to have Oprah here, but you can't talk about the whole Clipper situation. And Oprah came out and I said, Oprah, what do you think about Donald Sterling? And she gave me an amazing soundbite. The soundbite actually was like in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Today Show. Her quote was, we're not on the plantation anymore. It became huge. All of a sudden, it was an amazing interview. You can actually look it on YouTube, the Oprah TMZ interview. The interview is like one of my favorite interviews ever because it's a great interview. It's funny. It's interesting. It's long. And here I am talking to Oprah. But if I went to her people, they would obviously say no. Yeah. Later that day, CBS calls me. I knew someone at CBS like, hey, how'd you get the interview with Oprah? I was like, what do you mean? Like, I had an idea that she was there. I went by, got the interview. Like, oh, they told us that we couldn't ask her. I was like, well, yet again, that's the fun part about it. Like, I guess maybe she trusted me to develop the relationship. I've talked to her off camera, off of Oprah, and I introduced myself. I said, listen, and Oprah, I've talked to Oprah, I've talked to Mal Lara off camera, and the one thing about it, they respect the go-getter, the hustler. I'm just me and a camera. It's not some mic audio crew. And sometimes I actually get better interviews than a lot of other people because it's not a big production. They kind of open up to me more because they feel more comfortable rather than when the lights are on, there's an audience and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
I think it's interesting too because it's kind of playing on this idea of if you're a celebrity or if you're a performer in some way, you already have that A-type personality. So they're going to want to have a platform to say what they want. And oftentimes it's the people around them that are trying to protect them from saying truthfully what they would rather be out in the world anyway.
And so they're like the anti-publicists. Literally, publicists for me, for my job, are the worst thing ever because, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm here trying to promote your product. They're like, listen, I have no problem talking about your film that you're about to go do Kelly with, and I'll make it fun, quick, and easy. And my goal is like have celebrities just to treat me with respect, but also consider me a media stop, just like they consider anybody else with a media stop. But then also, I just want to have a fun interview. Like I'm a fan too. I get excited to meet these people. Mike Tyson. I mean, how could you not get excited to meet Mike Tyson?
You know who's one of my favorites, and I think it was up last night, is Cat Williams.
Cat Williams. He's so ridiculous, right?
So hilarious.
So funny.
Everything that he says is funny. All right, go ahead and play it here. This is Cat, but this is Cat being asked about being in a fight at in Atlanta.
Hey man, what happened in Georgia? Is everything okay?
Happened where?
In Georgia.
What'd you hear?
Well, there's a story that you got arrested in Georgia because something that happened at a pool store. What happened?
He thought when he was having a conversation with me that I was in his pool store to rob it. Okay. When I put 30 items on the counter, he then thought it was just a ploy to distract him.
Okay.
Then when I put 15 $100 bills on the counter, guess what he did next?
What happened?
He took the money and put it in his pocket and started ringing stuff up.
Okay.
I said, sir, that's not how anybody does business in America.
Right.
He said, I've been working here for 7 days. I don't care nothing about this job. And if you keep messing with me, you can get out the store. I said, I can't get out the store without my packages or without my money.
Right.
He said, oh, you can get out the store or you can go to jail. He used the N-word on the last day of Black History Month.
Jesus. Well.
So Cat Williams did what Cat Williams had to do as a black man that is self-employed.
Right.
Then Cat Williams went out to the middle of the street and assumed the position so that the hardworking police officers that ran up on him with 9 police cars and guns drawn understood that they weren't dealing with the criminal.
Right.
And since it's my 19th visit to Atlanta and I'm not from there, now Georgia no longer gets the comedy of Cat Williams.
That's just classic.
It's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I want to believe him, and like it's a terrible thing for him, but he's just like, he didn't even stutter on the story.
No, and first of all, you're on the road, right? Why are you buying 30 pool items anyway?
You're on the road. Why are you at a pool store? You know, I want to know what he was actually buying at the pool store.
Yeah, and then I give him $1,500, and I mean, I've never seen anyone just go, "All right, I'm taking your $1,500 and I'm stealing it from you."
The guy just started like a week ago.
Yeah,
and then he used the N-word on the last day of. He thought like, whoa.
That's when Cat Williams had to do what Cat Williams do. Okay?
Assume the position. But the best is, and I think what's really great is that he has somebody who's being relatable to him. He says this, and he's like, "That's terrible."
Yeah, right.
That is like he's now given a platform to say something that he's been wanting to get off his chest. You feel like,
you know, some guys like that, Cat Williams. I mean, maybe he could get on the Today Show now, but like yesterday, he couldn't get on the Today Show. So he needs a platform. People need a platform because the story's out there. Other people are reporting it. So the camera guy, my friend Jesse, who's the guy who did that, said, "Hey, what happened? Just tell me what happened. I'm not going to be biased, but just tell me your side of the story."
Right.
I love when he said like the N-word thing. Jesse goes, "Jesus." Like,
the other thing is great too. Cat's like, "What did you hear?"
You know, what did you hear? What did you hear?
I'm not exactly sure where you're going with this.
But that's the thing is like when we do this reporting, it's just like, hey, listen, I'm not going to butt in. Like I'm not Matt Lauer. Like question, like here, go. Here's your time. Talk, and then I might go off it. But Cat Williams told his whole side of the story.
Yeah,
you could believe it or you can't. But I mean, that's his side of the story. There's always two sides of a story. So.
The best thing there is if you would have been making a clip that would have been a fake TMZ clip for a movie, and you had set that clip up with him walking up in a full fur coat, you would have been like, okay, that's good, but it's a little too far.
Right.
That's not exactly realistic.
Yeah, it's like
and yet it is.
Cat.
But it was like the furrest fur coat ever. It was like something that a trapper would wear. It was gigantically thick.
I think the best part is if you see the location where they filmed it, I believe it might be airport court.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like he's at going to some core thing or something like that. But and the sad part is after this whole incident, Georgia's going to suffer. They'll never get Cat Williams again.
That's it.
After his incident at a pool store.
Yeah, and the way he said 19 is like he's been counting. We don't know how many times. Now they don't get the comedy of Cat Williams. It's a one pool store.
So
you ruined it for everyone. But you know when you think about it. Who is more of a TMZ type news story than Donald Trump? You know, his Twitter is rocking. He'll give you a quote wherever he can. And look at the American people are responding to that in a giant way.
He's huge right now. People, I mean, look at Fox News must love him more than ever. You know, like he's a star, you know, and, have you ever had Donald Trump on the show or his kids?
No, he does Howard here. His kid does Opie's show.
Opie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've dealt with him a few times. His security guy's super cool, but now he's got the Secret Service with him. Great Donald Trump story for me. One day I had to go to his office and film something for the TMZ tour bus, and he had to say 5 lines. I had an 11:30 appointment with him, but I got there like 11 o'clock, and he shows up. I get there like 11 o'clock. I got a bunch of equipment with me, and I'm kind of like flirting with his assistant, whatever, like the receptionist, just like I'm excited, taking photos of like the view of Central Park. Finally, 11:30 and the dot comes, and they're like, okay, he's ready for you, you could go. And I walk in the room. His office is like I don't even remember him having a computer, like papers everywhere. Like, I feel like he has like a fax machine, like old frames. Like, it's just not a nice office at all.
Yeah.
And he just like fixes his tie. Doesn't even say hi to me. I'm all excited to be in his office. And he goes, all right, what am I saying? I'm like, okay. And I put like a mic on him and stuff like that. And, he goes up, he says, he has to say 5 lines. He just goes, I own that. I also own that. I also own that. Thanks for taking he had to say like that. So he says each line twice. But again, I was sort of nervous because I'm in Trump's office and I have a really small window with him. As soon as I walk out of the office, I remember I forgot to turn the mic on because I was so nervous. Like, oh my God, I forgot to turn his mic on. Even though he was mic'd, I have to turn the battery on. I go to his receptionist, go, listen, if he doesn't do it again, he was moved around. He moved the batteries. Like the batteries will, you know, like, and I start making an excuse up.
Right.
She's like, I don't know. He's kind of busy all day. I go, listen, if he doesn't do this, I'm going to get fired. And, hopefully, I don't know. Maybe I could have, but, she goes, let me see what I can do. And she goes, listen, he has, in 10 minutes, he has a real quick, window for you, but he's not happy about it. I go in like 10 minutes later and I start to go in and he starts yelling at me. He goes, he goes, this is so ridiculous. This is so immature. You're so unprofessional. And I'm so nervous because Donald Trump's like, I don't know if he's going to fire me or yelling at me. So I just turn into like an old, like a guy from like an old movie. Like, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. And I started moving my hands a lot so he saw me shaking so he wouldn't get nervous. Like, I want him to see that I was nervous so he'd go easy on me. And I was like, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm like, I was like twitching just to make him like go easy on me.
And that's so funny, like that he would have the thing down to he may have 45 seconds here. He may have a minute and a half here.
As soon as I walked out of the door the first time, someone walked right in. Like you have windows with him, and he always like has a security guy with him on each floor, whatever he goes on. He's actually not a bad guy. Like I don't know what he is now. He's even though through that incident, he's pretty cool. But again, for us, like that's great stuff. I mean, you got to make a story out of a story, and that's what he's doing. At least for all news outlets.
Yeah, you're looking at a character. I remember back in the 90s, there was some fight in Vegas, and we're at the MGM Grand, and I had a young producer, and all the guys from the show were just sitting in the lobby. And it was just one of those things where just star after stars hanging out, because it was a Tyson fight. And Donald Trump comes through the lobby, and my producer says, I'm going to try to get Donald Trump. I'm going to try to get Donald Trump on the show. And we're just like kind of laughing at him. So he runs over and he hands him the card, right? And Trump is answering him, and he's walking back smiling, and he's like, and we're watching Trump just crumble up the card and drop it without breaking his stride. And he's like, hey, he really said that he might give us a call. We're like, look on the fucking floor. It was the funniest shit. Like, rather than being mad about it, you're like, that's exactly what I want that dude to do.
Yeah.
Be a Gotham City villain. Be bigger than life.
It's kind of cool. It's like he threw my business card down.
Yeah,
he's actually able to get away with it too.
Yeah.
It's worth that story.
Yeah, I used to be a golf caddy, and one of my other guys I worked with was a caddy at his golf course in Jersey. So you had to make sure, like, use what we call the foot wedge. Like when he plays golf, if you see his ball, always make sure it looks pretty. Like tee it up, kick it in the middle of the fairway. If he can't see, like try to make him have a great game, because then you try not to get him pissed if he has a great day.
Right.
You got to keep him happy and stuff like that.
That's so hilarious, though, right?
He works hard though, Donald Trump. He's got, you know what, his kids are like, they're good kids. I mean, obviously they went to good schools and stuff. He's got one daughter who's gorgeous. I mean, you obviously know Ivanka, but he's got a younger daughter who's like in her younger 20s.
With Marla, the one with Marla Maples.
Yeah, she's a pretty girl. She's like a little hot Instagram girl.
But you are right. Like the amount of kids that would turn into cokehead fucking assholes, millionaires of Instagram, or whoever those shitty kids are that are out there that come from that kind of money. And his kids seem to be incredibly level and incredibly loyal to each other and their dad. It's a kind of an interesting story there.
Yeah.
No,
it speaks, I mean, that shows I don't know how he is as a father, but he raised good kids. I mean, they're level-headed, they're normal, they don't do anything bad.
Right.
I mean, compared to some of these Hollywood kids who just have some. Go to an LA club, it's all rich kids. It's all celebrity. When I was in LA filming the game show, I went to like a few clubs, and every time you go to a club, you don't see celebrities. You just see the celebrities' kids. You see Rod Stewart's son. You see Magic Johnson's son. You see Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. It's just like, what the hell's going on here? You know?
Well, the only thing that you could have on those kids is they shoot rhinos or whatever the fuck that is. There's a lot of people like, oh, really? You need to shoot something that big?
They love it.
Yeah, we got a lot of shit around here you can shoot.
Yeah, they do real rich kid things.
Yeah, that is. Well, again, dude, congratulations.
Thanks so much, man.
You know, we've always saw you working really hard for years, and then to see you get this second break like this, it's amazing.
This is cool, man. You guys have always been so nice to me. Even to be up here is kind of like, for me, it's like, you know, again, a guy who struggled for a long time, who's intern here, and now to be on a show that I respect and I admire, I listen to, it's one of like,
who did you intern for when you were here?
Intern for Howard.
Really?
I was like K-Rock with him, went to Sirius here, and I was there for a long time. Unfortunately, I didn't get hired, and then I struggled for years after. When I mean struggled, not like drug addiction, more like couldn't find a job.
Right.
But you know what? I worked hard and doing stand-up comedy and doing TMZ, and now now I got a game show, and now I get to go on a show that, like your show, and I thank you again. This is just really cool for me.
You staying with the stand-up too? You gonna
still doing stand-up? I do about 7 shows a week right now.
Cool.
So long days, long nights. But honestly, it doesn't feel like I work. Like I would do this. I can't say I would do it for free, but you can't say it because then they won't pay you. But
he will.
It's fun. I'm having a great time. Really, I'm still working today. I enjoy it.
Congratulations
Thanks
to you,
so much,
my man.
Adam Glenn from TMZ has been in the studio. You can watch his new game show, South of Wilshire, and Fox affiliates across select cities around the country. Go to southofwilshire.com for times and more information. And on Twitter, it's at Adam Glenn.
We'll be right back. This is Bennington. Adam from TMZ was just in here. Have you seen his TV show yet?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
It's so wild.
It's really funny, and like he's the only white guy in the room normally. But do you ever feel like you could answer those questions?
Sometimes I do. Other times it seems impossible.
I don't even feel like I follow that thing, and I still feel like I would win every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I see some of them need so many fucking hints before they get to it.
Well, that's the funny thing is like there's that sweet spot with a game show, and I think Cash Cab had that where when you're at home going, that's the answer.
Right.
Like I know it.
That's a real good point. Cash Cab would be a perfect show to do back to back with this.
Yeah.
You know, because it's very low rent looking.
Because that's the thing about Cash Cab is I always would be at home being like, I really think I could crush on Cash Cab.
The other thing funny about South of Wilshire is if, like, let's say you get $1,000 question right, instead of changing like the point, they'll just come over and put a stack in front of you.
I love that.
There's $1,000 right there.
There it is.
It's like fucking being in a casino.
I like also get excited. Someone just won $1,000.
Yeah.
Everyone go crazy. It's a big deal.
That reminds me. Why hasn't there been a show just casino games? You're just watching people play blackjack.
That would be great.
You're at home. Stick.
I'd watch roulette. I love it.
What is it about roulette for you? It seems like the dumbest of all games to me.
She's very like classy and like European.
How?
I just when I think of like roulette,
you're thinking of baccarat.
Fuck, I might be.
I don't think whether it goes on a red or black is fucking classy.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a sophisticated game.
Yeah, there's not even like, it seems like, what's the math on it? I'm picking a 14. I think the marble will fall there. I'm James Bond.
I'm feeling good about this.
That's got to be what it is. It's the James Bond thing. That's what makes you think it's classy.
Where do you see? I didn't know the Soho thing that you see a lot of celebrities in Soho.
Soho is
where are they shopping?
They're shopping. There's a lot of kind of posh type restaurants down there.
It's the most expensive. Yeah, what are those Italian restaurants? It's like a family name, Cipriani. You ever been there?
Yes.
Their food is actually delicious, but
it's really good.
A little pricey,
little expensive. And then also there's great, they have those big loft kind of apartments down there that only rich people could afford. So I think a lot of them keep those lofts down there.
Well, but you never get any view with it. I love a loft. I love how like it's one giant room.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. I was just watching Hannah and Her Sisters, which is in the 1980s. And the neighborhood is pure destruction. It looks like you're driving past into fucking Beirut. You've passed a couple checkpoints. And then remember the artist had that big, spot. That's fucking Soho. And that's Soho 30 years ago. that anybody could have went in there and basically got any of those apartments for free.
Right. Yeah.
And now they're 8-10 million.
And the crazy thing is, when everybody was moving to Williamsburg and then Bushwick, it was like you were able to grab those loft apartments that looked like the apartments in movies that you're like, oh, no one could afford that. And then you would have that look, except for you wouldn't be in Manhattan. And
Right.
now those are as expensive as the ones you would find in Manhattan.
And anyone young would rather live there
Yeah.
than live in Manhattan. Fucking crazy how that all works. Well, you know, like they say, what the fuck are you going to do? You know what I mean, Chris?
I don't know.
That's what they say.
Joe, you voted for Rubio last night on your absentee ballot?
Mm-hmm.
Did you really?
No, I actually can't do it there anymore because I don't have any identification to vote in Minnesota. All my identification's here.
Yes, that's why you have an absentee ballot, you fucking lunatic. You know what? This is why when people are like, we shouldn't let Muslims live here, I'm like, there's a lot of fucking U.S. citizens that should also be deported. It should not just be illegal aliens, but a lot of legal citizens should also be deported. And you know who should make the decision on it?
Who?
Me. I could go around, see the way people are living their life, and then in a second decide whether they should stay or leave.
Would you just put together like a series of questions?
No, all I'd have to do is watch them for a second. And I'll split up families. I'll tear children away from their mothers, pregnant women away from their husbands. Anything I need to do to turn this into a... I've already sent this in to Trump and Hillary, letting them both know, look, this isn't about politics. I'll do this for either party. I will rid this country of what I call the Joey Jojo types.
Oh, no.
Good.
But I'm safe.
Why would you be safe?
You're your own type.
You're the archetype.
Oh, man. I'm the sample?
Coming in just a few minutes, the boys from Delco Proper are going to be here, and I'm going to ask them to beat you till you're dead.
Oh, God.
And they will do it.
I hope so. Either that or they'll beat me till I'm dead for asking. We don't know who they're going to be. Someone's going to get beat till they're dead. Yeah. We're not sure.
That's for certain.
Well, someone's on the phone here. We haven't talked to in quite a long time. It's our own Jeffrey Gurian. Jeffrey.
What's up, Ron? How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Jeffrey.
All my Bennington peeps.
You're not jumping around much, are you, these days? You stop jumping around?
No, I'm jumping. Who said I stopped?
Well, a lot of people said they don't see you around.
Rumors.
Yeah.
I don't let a heart attack stop me, man. I'm out. I'm totally out.
Do you actually use it to help you get interviews that you like? I saw something on your site this week that you were told by Bill Burr to put your pen and notebook away.
Yeah, no, he always kids around with me like that. He says, are you here as a comedian or as a journalist? He made me make a choice. He's like, and I said, I'm not going to write anything that you don't want me to write. And so I chose comedian. And he said, fine. That made him relax. And then he looks at me, he goes, you know I love you. And then we all have a big laugh. He's like, he always teases me like that.
But you should pick journalists first, because that's who you are, Jeffrey.
Not really, though. My life is always so complicated. I'm never really one or the other thing.
Well, that's with women.
No.
That's sexually.
No,
hey, you got a gig tonight,
in the comedy world, I don't want people to look at me just like as a journalist, because then people are concerned that they're afraid that they'll say something that they don't want to say.
That's how I am around you.
But I understand, because you're always saying something outrageous. But
well, I'm a man of secrets.
Yeah, I like that thing about judging people visually. I was thinking that just the other day, that I could walk in the street and just tell who doesn't belong there anymore.
I could look at anyone and tell whether they're a good person or a bad person.
Right, within a few seconds, right? It just happens, right?
Now, that's why I've never hired a good person. I look up, because I only want bad people working for me, because I know they're ruthless, and they're soulless, and they don't care about their personal life.
And they get the job done.
Joe, do you have a steady girl that you're dating now?
Not a steady girl, no.
Because he won't allow them himself.
Mm-mm.
No.
He will not. He's like, work comes first.
Those are the kind of people you want to surround yourself with.
Yes. Normally people come here and break up with whoever they're with. And say, I'm dedicated to them. I'm in love with Ron now.
They're willing to dedicate their lives to the Bennington show, and that's how it should be.
Where's your gig tonight, Jeffrey?
New York comedy, man. I'm really excited about that. That's why I'm home preparing. I'm going over my stuff. It's the first time that I'm headlining New York comedy, and it's going to be a really fun show. You know, Dan Lamort is opening, and he's like 20 years old, this guy, and he's been performing all over the place. He's really fun. And Von DiCarlo.
Oh, your best buddy.
Von DiCarlo is great, yeah, and she's coming, so we're going to have a really good time.
Why don't you do this, Jeffrey? Open up with your airline food bit, which is really good. It's one of my favorite things that he does. And then you do that bit like, I get that the cheeseburger comes from pound, but what part does the McNugget come from on a chicken?
Exactly, and then that breaks into
balls.
the tap dancing that I've been working on, that tap dancing routine into the knife throwing act.
I like that. I like when you pull your eyes back and do a Chinese person.
Right, which I do very often.
Yeah. You're always like, fortune cooking time! So cute.
I talk about my English.
Yeah, that's funny, because he puts an R in English. And I'm like, why is this guy
No one's
even
done that
here?
before.
That's very clever.
I'm very avant-garde when I'm on stage. I'm just putting out stuff that people never heard before.
You know what I like? Up on the iBank today, the stand-up spotlight, there's pictures of Judah Freelander, and he's basically, who's the photographer on this, Chris?
Phil Provencio?
Do you know Phil?
Yeah, I do know him. I see him at a lot of the clubs.
He's kind of caught him running back and forth between the two clubs. And I don't think the people around the country realize that you're going to go do the cellar, do a set there, run and do the underground, back to the cellar, then maybe over to the stand, and that the clubs aren't that far away from each other, but you gotta hustle.
You gotta hustle, but that's what's amazing about New York. The clubs are really very accessible, and Judah, is one of the most accessible people in the game. I mean, he's always out, and he's always very friendly when you see him out. He's always willing to stop for pictures with people.
I would never recognize him in real life.
No, you couldn't tell that it was him. I always ask him that. I'm like, isn't that a lot of pressure for you to walk around? Because, some people play down their look, but with Judah, that's always him. That's just him. And, and he said, well, he's used to it,
But, here's the thing when you're saying about the clubs. Doesn't it seem now that all the hot clubs are downtown instead of uptown?
Yeah, there's very few clubs uptown. Most of the people, they run between New York Comedy and then the Stand, and then they run down to the Cellar, and then there's Greenwich Village down there, and the Grizzly Pear has shows. That area is really a whole comedy area, and people tend to stay downtown.
You know what they do uptown now, right?
What's that?
Funk. Uptown Funky Up. But, I was walking past the old Catch the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like they're going to knock that building down.
Really?
Yeah, there was nothing lit in that building at all. And I'm like, how many people come to New York and don't realize that that's one of the most famous buildings?
Iconic buildings.
Yeah.
I used to live on that block when I first moved to the city.
Uh-huh.
I lived right down the corner from Catch, and it was an amazing hang, man.
I was just talking to Mike Fenoya the other day about the downtown, the old Fillmore East. I mean, that's one of the most famous clubs of all time. Now, people just I think it's a bank or something now. People just walk
exactly.
by it.
I went down there to see Timothy Leary speak, man. That place was unbelievable. Back in the day.
I don't know if you heard the bad news, but Timothy Leary's dead.
No! Are you kidding?
Yeah, he's outside looking in.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Where am I going to get my acid from?
What is it, Chris? Just say.
The Delco boys are here.
Good.
Here shortly.
Do you know those guys?
No, I have not met them yet. I'm ashamed to admit it. Tell me about them.
Well, Tommy Pope is our buddy, and he's got this thing on for Comedy Central right now called Delco Proper, and it may be the funniest show in the history of the planet Earth, and that's the planet I live on.
Well, I'm going to have to check that out immediately.
Please do. It's up on the iBank. You can just go over and click, and it'll just drive you right there. It'll drive you along. I guess there's a link or something. If you click a link, it just immediately takes you to another place.
Really? I'm going to give that a shot.
Yeah, the links are in
That how the internet works?
Yeah, some of it.
I got to try that, man. I've been hearing talk about it, but I thought it was just a fad, like television.
Well, I look at my phone up close, so it's all 3D.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to have to try that.
Or virtual reality. It's VR.
So, anyway, if your listeners are around, come see me tonight.
We're all going to go.
The 7 p.m. show at New York Comedy Club.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. New York Comedy. Me, Dan Lamort, Von DeCarlo, and it's going to be fun.
And more.
And more. Always more. You know, people from the audience are going to get up and do something.
Do you do any crowd work at all, Jeffrey? Do you say to
Very
people?
little.
Yeah.
Very little. I don't know. I never really liked crowd work.
Well, you know what I do like about it? Because when I'm in a crowd, no matter where, I'm like, where are these people from and what do they do for a living? Yeah. And with crowd work, I find out immediately.
And when I'm in a room with strangers, the first thing I'm like, now what's the deal? How long have they been together?
Right.
What's their relationship? What's going on there?
What's their fucking deal?
Yeah.
You know, I actually admire people who do it. Like Big J is a killer at crowd work. You've heard of him. I know you've heard of him. That guy he did Webster Hall last week.
Oh, I thought that was Big Jim. Now I'm embarrassed.
Weird.
And I'm like, Big Jim.
You know, Big J, he did what's your fucking deal? And all
right. The Delco boys are here,
natural.
and for some reason, even after me bring it up, we just keep them down the hall. Fucking drives me mad. All right, we'll talk to you later, Jeffrey.
Okay, thanks,
Good
man.
luck with
Talk
tonight.
To you guys later. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye, Jeffrey.
Didn't we just have this discussion?
Yeah.
Did you discuss with him?
I told him how I wanted them to bring him down.
Did it work that way?
No.
All right, well then let's do the announcement.
Tommy Pope, John McKeever, and Tim Bartley from Delco Proper are
Tim
here.
what?
From Delco Proper.
From Tim what?
Tim Bartley. All new episodes of Delco Proper are streaming now on Comedy Central. Go to cc.com to watch. Tommy Pope, John McKeever, and Tim Bartley are all in studio. They're from Delco Proper. All new episodes of Delco Proper are streaming now on Comedy Central. Go to cc.com to watch.
Tommy Pope, good to see you again, my friend. And, you know, we were waiting for these things to come back. So, like, just seeing these guys walk in here, I feel like I'm seeing movie stars. You know what I mean? 'Cause I only know them from their characters, right? And I watched that first episode a million times, and then when your new episodes come out, we all watch them here together.
They're
funny as shit.
They're phenomenal.
Thank you very
The new
much.
episodes are great.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Are you guys from that part of the world, or?
Yeah, I'm from Delco, Drexel Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Northeast Philly, which is kind of similar.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, I'm from a part of Philly called Port Richmond, and it's identical. I mean, we just get our prescriptions from different dudes, that's all.
Well, that is really funny that if you look at that whole area, and you're like, even if you go out to the main line, there's all those beautiful houses, and still those people will punch you in the face. There's the slightest thing. It may be one of the last parts of the country where hitting people still seems okay to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, church isn't every day, you know what I mean?
But it feels like if you go to a wedding, keep your eye out. But the other thing that you bring up right from the beginning too is there's a thing that if you fight anybody from that area, it's never over. No. You know what I mean? Like years can go by, you'll see that guy, you'll be with your kids and be like, oh, fuck, everybody get in the car.
You pass that down. The kids who inherit the playground that you hang out at after you graduate, they have to continue that rivalry on for you.
Yeah. I don't know why that happens, but it's comforting there, you know, and the parents still say to kids, look, you got to go out and defend yourself. You got to fight. Don't take any shit off anybody, you know, and that's it.
And the people you fight against they're the same people.
The same people.
Yeah. Our buddy Steve describes it as a dog barking at itself in the mirror, but you know, you only fought him because they went to some other parish or grade school or high school, and you would be best friends with him if you just shut your mouth and grabbed a beer.
And yet, for some reason, it is it was an acceptable way to make friends. I remember being younger, and my first friends, we had a fight before we became friends, right? So the first day we met each other, we had a fight at school, and then later that was my buddy.
Yeah, it's a two-man gang. We
initiated each other in.
Now, how did you guys come up with the premise itself? How did that happen?
Tommy and I worked in a lumberyard when we were not kids, but teenagers, and we kind of never saw that world. Explored in any other show.
Right.
And we had all these characters and all these ideas for characters, and we just thought, where can we put these maniacs where they would be able to hold a job, and a lumberyard was perfect. I mean, we worked with plenty of people that like if they worked anywhere else, even like a Walgreens, they like get the fuck out of here. But there was that's kind of how we came up with the idea.
You know, when I was a little kid, that was like my fantasy job, a lumberyard. I'm just like, you're driving shit around, you're grabbing, and it smells great. And I remember saying to my dad, I go, this would be a great job. I was a little kid, and he goes like, you could never work here. He literally told me I wasn't going to have the skills for a lumberyard.
Dial it back there, Ron.
What an opposite life you had. Instead of dreaming about radio and working in a lumberyard.
But it was literally like that with every job. Like, no, I don't think so. You better look lower. But at the same time, that they have that thing, because, I mean, that's the greatest thing about the movie Rocky. And by the way, the perfect Philadelphia story, he doesn't get the fucking award the other night.
Yeah, I know.
When everyone thought. Now, Gail.
He looks great, by the way.
Of course he does.
Yeah. He's sleeping in buttermilk. That's
He hasn't stopped doing sit-ups since 76. That's all he has. There's no acting ability there whatsoever. But your guy's from
Upper Darby. Yeah.
So when fucking Rocky doesn't win, it's our town scumbag. Not in this town, scumbag is the line. But as soon as we couldn't even look at him because we knew, they had to have a moment over there.
It was like maybe a good 5 minutes later. I walked over. Hey, buddy, how you doing? He's still just no.
I think that's fitting though, because in the original and best Rocky, he doesn't win.
Exactly, it makes a lot of sense.
He cannot win, or it ruins it.
He just wanted to go the distance.
That's all.
That's it.
It's great to be nominated.
And even then, remember when he got the fight, nobody thought like, don't do this. You know what I mean? Do not have dreams and look for things. Please don't.
Yeah, maybe you're not lumberyard material, but keep punching that steak.
And some of his friends were like, don't do it, Rock. Don't try. But I also think that there's like a thing in that area that if someone does try and does well, it makes everybody else feel like shit. Right?
Yeah, they hate on it. I mean, we said this before, that the only, like nationally, we're getting a lot of great reception. People are really happy. And then the people that hate on us are from our hometown. They spite. And then even if you see them in person, they're always just like, it was pretty funny.
That's all right.
Regardless of how great it was. Like, I saw your skit. It was all right.
Yeah, if you guys use my friend Benny, it'd be way funnier, but whatever. Guys are still fucking corny as shit, though.
All new episodes of Delco Proper are streaming now on Comedy Central. Go to cc.com to watch. On Twitter, it's at Johnny McKeever, at Tommy J. Pope, and at Tim Butterly.
Now, everybody does stand up as well, or is this... Yeah. But not happily. I see you're just like...
I have like a family and a job and stuff, so between stand-up, making sure no one starves to death, and the show, it's actually kind of a drag for me. Also, Tommy and John are the two funniest people I've ever met in my entire life, so when I watch them do stand-up, I'm like, they got it covered. I'm not doing that.
Thank you.
Fuck that.
Don't go for it, Rock. Don't try. Now, did you start your family young?
Yeah, my kids I'm 30 and my kids are 8 and 5.
Yeah.
And it's the best, but you can't go out every night hitting the mics and shit.
There is a thing there too that still exists, unlike other places, is get married fairly young. You know what I mean? Like I'm older than you guys, but me and my friends all got married, the first marriage, in our teens. You know what I mean? The one no one believed was going to fucking work out. But it just seemed like, we had a good run. I'm 19 now. So, off we go.
Time to settle down.
Yeah. She's real nice,
Well, everyone I know dies at 35. I'm never going to get a job, so I might as well just shack up with someone else.
Yeah. A lot of people there honeymoon at prom.
Yeah, you take your pregnant wife to the prom. There we are. We're getting a picture taken.
This one's free. Shut your mouth.
That is such funny shit, though. But the thing that's funny about it is, like, you guys don't need to go too extreme with these characters. You know what I mean? You just bring in that part of the world.
Yeah, we try and we find some inspiration through our family members and stories that we've experienced and friends and neighbors. And between the three of us, there's a plethora of assholes we can pull from and experiences that we can, at least drum up and start a story.
And it's funny that you mentioned like your parents mentioning like get out there and defend yourself. One time I got banged up on a skateboard.
Yeah.
And I should have been going to a hospital. But the first thing that my dad said to me was like, "You didn't lose a fight, did you?"
Yeah, right.
And he was like, "By the way, we don't have health insurance, so just get those special Band-Aids."
Get back in a tattoo chair.
Yeah. Well, I even remember like being a really little kid and be fucking hit, and you come back and you're crying, and your mom would be like, "You got to get back out there and hit him," and you're like, "You think I didn't try to fucking hit him? I'm telling you, I'm outclassed here. We got to wake up my brother, and I go back out there with him." Because I always thought a good 2-on-1 fight is much better than anything else. That's why just stomping someone at a bar, that was comforting. Yeah. But this thing of squaring off against someone, 1-on-1, what the fuck is this?
You got to train for that shit.
Yeah.
Even if that second person's just a shit talk.
Moral support. Yeah.
Well, that is the problem that, you grew up with the kind of friends that would go into a fight for you in a heartbeat. They'll, you get hit, they're not asking questions, everybody goes in. But it also means you got to go into that fucking next fight, right? And this guy never shuts the fuck up. And you're like, can we just go out once and relax? I just want some wings. I never get them hot. And basically, this is the premise of Delco proper, and that's the funniest thing about it is like everybody in the show knows that the other guy's a maniac. Literally is a crazy person.
It's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Or at least they have potential.
Right. Yeah.
It's a potential maniac.
Yeah. Everybody is going to be the guy who snaps or fucking passes out. They're all going to get their time to do it.
You're always on your toes. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's got that time of being the asshole of the group, yet there's a loyalty there that no one is out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No matter how bad you fuck up, you're not out.
Yeah, that loyalty tells you I'm not stepping that far out of line if I ruin this christening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they all got my back.
Yeah. It's a hysterical show. Now, Comedy Central, how are they supposed to get this? Because they're not from that part of the world. Particularly since most of the guys that say yes to things, and I'm going to, bring up Patrice O'Neill here, but he always says that those are the front of the bus guys. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You guys, obviously, back of the bus guys. That's the way you grow up, right? But the front of the bus guys are the ones who go to school and end up saying who gets a show
for sure
and who doesn't.
Right. Well, that was kind of a concern in the beginning when we pitched the show. Our biggest pitch was like these people are relatable in every normal way, and but where they're from kind of defines who they are. But we would never lean on like local references or any type of. We never make references or mentions to anything in like Philadelphia or Delco. We just try to make it so that the characters just kind of shine through.
Right.
You know what I mean? Rather, because a lot of people will lean on, if they make a show in Chicago, it's like, well, I better have a hot dog, some bullshit like that, And every time somebody would comment on our old videos, they would be like, you didn't talk about, Uncle Dave's Wawa shop. And we just try to stay away from that as much as we can.
Which is why they're now hating on us.
Are they really hating on you guys?
Well, no. Yeah. Just the maniacs.
Yeah, the dudes with the Reddit accounts.
This show did not feature my Uncle Rob's burial plot, so it's not real Delco. But on the flip side of that, and the creative decisions you guys have made and Comedy Central will let slip through, is that I've got friends in Binghamton, New York, on the Great Lakes, and I send them the video, and they're like, "Yo, this is me and my boys too."
Yeah,
it's kind of universal if you remove all the local references,
right? Exactly. Because there's a blue collarness that's kind of forgotten in entertainment, or when they put it on, it becomes very, very fake.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yes.
Where this is just regular guys, and we're saying, it's not that these guys don't have dreams; they do, but they're not ridiculous dreams. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You want to go to Wildwood, you want your fucking kids to be able to go to Catholic school, whatever those things are. Then, you know what I mean? We've had a good life.
Yeah. You died at 42. It was good.
You punch out at 42.
Yeah.
Hopefully no overtime.
Yeah, it's
I've been to funerals where guys were, in their 40s, and everyone's like, "Well, he had a good run. He did what he wanted." Like other places that would be considered tragic,
He died doing what he loved.
Yeah,
we were around a white man with those bladders on.
We were all simply ready to let him go. Hey, Viking funeral for him. He was always a good guy. There he goes. And you're checking out his wife. Like, if you need anything, like, stop it.
Look, Marianne.
Well, ever since that landscaping injury, he's been on borrowed time anyway.
Tommy Pope, John McKeever, and Tim Bartley are in studio. Delco Proper, all new episodes are streaming now on Comedy Central. Go to cc.com to watch.
Who's doing the main writing? Who's the writers?
John and I.
Yeah.
And then
Tim and our friend Mike Rainey, who also was in the show. He's Perk Mike. He's the guy washing the window.
Oh yeah. That was fucking hysterical too.
He does some writing too, and that was a big part of the show too. Was sometimes you watch a show and you mention it, like you'll see like a blue collar place, and then they throw in some really like weird hacky joke. Where it's like, he's so dumb he looks like this. Yeah, but it's like none of these characters have like Yale education, so they're not writing Yale jokes. Right. So the humor has to come from the situations and just their personalities, and that was, I think, a big part of writing it. Was we try to stay away from certain joke structure. Like, there's no similes or any of that stuff in there. We try to specifically stay away from that kind of stuff.
Well, literally, some of the funniest pieces are kind of old school physical comedy things. Some of it just a punch to the face. And like there's a really hysterical knockout that, there's no reason to see it coming.
We did maybe 4 or 5 takes. Yeah. And the one take, it happened to be like the 3rd or 4th take, he really hit some. It was by accident, I think. I don't know. We never really talked about it. But he's bleeding on his teeth.
He was leaning in. All credit to Ryan Shaner for really selling it. I was 100% committed. I was like, you know what? It's not going to look that great, but this is low budge. And I actually didn't hit him with my fist. I hit him with my wrist bone, like right across his mouth. And then he was intent. Like, he was convinced. He's like, this is going to look great if I slam my own face into the ground.
And he did it. He hit his face in the ground.
You can see the dirt kick up.
Right.
Yeah, there was actually a producer that came over and was like, that guy's bleeding. This is a problem. And we were like, he's fine. He's not a pussy. And now we were like, Shane, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm fine.
They make Band-Aids for gums, right?
Also, there's that premise of the guy who stays with his softball career too long. And that is the funniest thing, that you go into a bar and a guy's wearing a softball fucking uniform like it was a Navy SEAL. The pride he has of leaving. Like, go home, shower, and come back. It takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, it looked like I wasn't going to make the catch, and then I basically did. So, who gives a shit, bitch? Get out of here.
Dude, I've heard people tell stories about a grounder from last year. He just hopped up and hit me in my fucking face. And now I don't know numbers real good, but whatever, dude. You don't need numbers when you're hammering shit.
I'm guilty of that. I made a wiffle ball catch like 6 summers ago. I still bring it up at dinner sometimes. Because I was like, I almost ran into the street. I'm bringing it up now. Dude, I'm reversing position on this. Actually, all-star wiffle ball catches are the shit, and you guys are wrong. I'm sorry.
It is funny that can make you happier than anything at your job. Nothing at your job can make you as happy as, did you see it? Hanging over a wooden fence.
Yeah, whenever you see a dude on a construction site smiling, he's thinking about a catch.
Nothing can bring you down worse than when they don't make a big fucking deal about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Are you going to act like this isn't a big deal?
Yeah. I went down years ago and played Dream Week baseball with the Phils, right? And there was the year before they give us this sit down talk, and this is like $3,500 a fucking week to go down and play with the old Philly pros. And they gave us a talk because the year before, when they played against the Steelers, both benches fucking emptied. These guys were just out there swinging at each other. They're like, guys, this is supposed to be fun, And there's some fucking guy from Kensington saying, no, I know, but if he starts any shit, I'm fucking knocking that guy guy out.
Yeah, no disrespect, but honestly, if that dude keeps looking at me like that, I'm running out in the fucking field.
And you could see it. This little fantasy was more important to them than anything else. You know, like more important than 9/11. If they had to make a decision between,
like they're holding 9/11 in that moment over a cliff, like the good son.
Never forget number 1, 1998, June 21st.
Well, those types of dudes are always looking for a new 9/11, right? This is baseball 9/11, bro.
Yeah. Well, fuck. What's happened to Philly sports is 9/11 now. Seriously. It's fucking humiliating.
It really is.
Yeah. There's
All
nothing
around.
left.
Nothing.
It's just burnt out. And that fucking Chip Kelly, I'd chase that fucker with a stick tomorrow if I had the opportunity. Because the way he left that town, it's just awful. He just fucked everything up. All right, guys, bye. See you later. Went to San Francisco for more money. Got rid of all your stars. Unbelievable.
Well, you know, there's room for new talent, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Just keep
keep an eye out for open tryouts. Everyone named Jim and Delco.
Oh, the Invincible movie. That's another one of
Vince Papale.
Yeah, the Vince Papale story.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Like he just jumped on a tryout? And then...
I mean, this is where they were in the 70s. It was that fucking hideous that a guy who never even played didn't even play college ball. But the story, like any Hollywood story, is kind of bullshit. The way it happened. But if you watch that story, those guys all seem like they're from New York, not from Philly. You know,
that's most Philly movies. It's like a bunch of guys talking like they're from New York.
Oh, shit, Rocky.
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah. Why has he become like the son of... When you go to Philly now, people are like, yo, Mark Wahlberg's my dude. I'm like, he's from Boston. He drops his R's.
That's because no real Philly celebrities have abs. That's the
problem. Who would be considered like a Philly celebrity right now?
Oh, God. What about Bradley Cooper's close enough, right?
Bradley Cooper, yeah.
But he doesn't act like it.
No.
He dropped that accent a long time ago.
Well, you want it to work.
That was another complaint we always get. It's like they don't have their Philly accent or their Delco accent isn't thick enough on the show.
Yeah.
Like, because we wanted to make it to air, you fucking asshole.
Somebody that understands.
You got to draw it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But they end up with Tough Guy Brooklyn. That's your usual Philly movie guy. Which sucks.
Well, how old were you when you even realized that you had an accent? Because I never.
26.
Yeah, I was the same way.
I took college.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I found out I was saying picture instead of picture. And it was my wife. We were already married. She pointed out. She's like, you said picture? What the fuck is wrong with you? She was almost like, what have I done?
There is it's one thing to have an accent, but people will just take off and go, yeah, we're throwing the wood in the chimney. What the fuck is that? Chimney.
No, the thing that confuses me about chimney is I know that if you thought about it, if you looked at the word, but you see the word and then you see chimney, how?
They saw the first half. They did not have time to read all of chimney. That's as far as they got in literature. Fill in the blanks.
But I had no idea. I felt like, I talked like the people on TV. I literally didn't know. And then I would go other places. People are like, what are you talking about? Right? And to this day, if I try to introduce my chick, people are going, Jolly? Jolly? I'm not Jolly. And they're like, Jolly. Yeah. Jolly. And I'm like, what the fuck? I just told you 3 times. Jolly.
It's Jolly.
I was in San Francisco talking about ice, and I was like, yeah, there's a lot of ice at home. And this guy was like, what are you saying? And I was like, ice. And he was like, you mean ice? And I was like, what the fuck are you saying? And
then I hit
him. Water ice. Yeah. You're saying wood or ice? Is that it? Water ice.
We're like, especially?
Yeah.
I've heard that at a eulogy.
Yeah.
This one's kind of a deep cut, but instead of only, they say oni. So it's like oni, like $1,500.
Yeah. Oh, and I-E-Y.
Now I got free inspections for life.
Oni. Well, what is that? There's a Wildwood thing for all the kids from Philly go down. It was like from the 70s or 80s. It's
called Summer.
Yeah.
It's like whatever the year was.
Yeah.
But
it's fucking literally the greatest documentary that's ever happened.
Oh, you sent this to me.
Yeah.
Wildwood documentary.
Wildwood Nights or something.
Something crazy.
They're just doing interviews on the boardwalk.
Perfect.
It's amazing.
That's it. It's just they're basically just interviewing girls on the boardwalk, for, like specifically girls, and it's so incredible.
Is that it, Chris?
Yeah, just tell Wildwood, New Jersey.
Wildwood, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So
this
good.
chick is the best too. With the
You gotta put on volume.
Their accents are incredible.
North Central, Newark area. Be nice.
Well, that's the thing where we live. Everybody's got their nails done.
Everybody's got their nails done.
their nails done.
You gotta be with the fling, you know? You gotta do what you gotta do. But it doesn't, and they're all fake.
Yeah, no shit.
Anyway, go Notre Dame.
That is true. That when I was a little kid, I thought Notre Dame was around Philly.
Oh yeah, it's just Irish people. Just
all the Irish people, and the priest would bring it up on Sundays, and I'm like, so I said to my dad, I go, we had to go to a Notre Dame game, and he's like, what are you fucking? Why would we out there? I thought it was somewhere around Temple. Just head over there.
Look at that girl.
You've always got a body.
Jesus Christ.
And you've always got the check to cash, no matter which way you look at it.
Was she pointing at her vagina?
Yeah, that's right.
Look at this dude.
Meet somebody like that, in a split second. And
she's like, I want to go home.
Into a serious relationship, like me and Janet.
Janet? Janet?
A couple of weeks ago, but we hooked up tonight together, and I'm probably going to be with her for the rest of the summer.
We're gonna carve our initials in the gravitron, and we're basically fucking married for the next 2 months, dude.
Stay together forever.
Oh Jesus!
Or it's different. And whatever happens, happens.
It's happening under the fucking boardwalk too.
Things change over the course of a pregnancy. Look at that piece of shit. Excuse me. Excuse my French.
No, you're
I had no idea where it went. Like, sort
Holy
of.
smokes.
Like,
Yeah, she's all right.
Yeah.
So we waited, and 4 minutes later, it just came naturally.
Everyone's so friendly here.
The shame is all these people are probably dead.
Funny guys. People with, a personality. I don't keep
That
caring.
looks like Amy Schumer. It's a young Amy Schumer.
Which one?
On the right.
They could, kick her in the head. She won't care. Ooh, he's good looking.
He's good looking.
Girls attempt to jump me one time, and it didn't work.
Basically had to fucking rock their jaws.
Because my boyfriend won't let
2
me
out of 10.
fight.
Yeah.
This percentage is not great.
Yeah, it's worth the same as Wildwood.
Yeah.
These girls all have neighborhood face.
Yeah.
Real hard neighborhood face on these girls.
That's the look.
Yeah.
Neighborhood face.
Like they've seen some medicine they didn't need to.
All right, break here. You guys can hang out for a while, though?
Yeah, she'll have us.
All right, make sure you guys check this out. It's Delco Proper. All new episodes of Delco Proper streaming now on Comedy Central, cc.com to link. You can also go over to the iBang, and there's a link there. We'll be right back. This is Bennington.
Welcome back to Bennington. Tommy Pope, John McKeever, and Tim Butterly are all in the studio. They're all Delco Proper. All new episodes of Delco Proper are streaming now on Comedy Central. Go to cc.com to watch.
Butterly is such a great name that you just use it on the show. It's just the perfect name.
Everyone says it's butterfly. They read it butterfly every time. It's the same thing as chimley. They get the butterfly. Got it. That's all I'm reading. Thank you.
Delco Proper is about these blue-collar guys that are just living their life, doing stuff along the lines of what that tribe has decided generations before is a way to do it. But, Chris, you growing up in Queens, did you feel like you knew these kind of guys in your life?
Oh yeah, the neighborhood dudes in the story or whatever were just like this. Yeah, just fucking partying, and even dudes in Brooklyn or wherever. Because I went to high school in Brooklyn, and I was just friends with a bunch of dudes from Brooklyn.
Well, that's also what's funny is at the end of the day, there's never been a pill or a powder somebody didn't at least try. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you would think, because the funny thing is that was such a blue collar town, so they were anti-hippie, but at the same time were pro any of the angel dust or fucking any of the shit that came through.
Anything you can fight on.
Yeah. I would basically do it at a sporting event. You know what I mean? Like you're watching a sporting event. But people know about the Philadelphia sports fan and the fact that they had to put a court in Old Vet Stadium, a judge would come in. But that was always part of it as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. I love when people ask you if you want drugs, and then there's a pause, and you go, "Why, you got some?" Yeah. You're like, I don't do coke.
No.
I was just here for communion, but all right. I got nothing to do.
The old head nod, or the old thing where you would just keep an eye on where those two guys gone.
And you clock how long they've been in the bathroom. Like, it's been a while, right? It's been a while. Now I have to piss.
We're all talking really fast.
So you go off with your buddy into a bedroom, and you just hear this. When you would open up, that person would try to slip in and shut it behind you. Like, no, like I got it.
He shuts the door like he's trying to not let a cat out.
Exactly. And then act like it's for us.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to share your coat with those people.
Thank God it was me. It could have been someone else.
You're just like, yeah, okay.
I thought you were Beth for a second.
Yeah.
By the way, you get the small one.
But there's also that pride of not being a guy who thinks he's too good for the neighborhood as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, no matter what, the guy could go on and become a doctor. He still wants to be part of that same scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you saying we're like that or not like that?
I'm saying you're more like that than the show. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
As soon as you started rolling off your kids' ages. You know, most people at age 30 now are like, I'm a fanboy, and I can't wait for the next Star Wars. You have fucking, like, literally have a life.
Yeah, it's a real-ass life.
Yeah, you used to have 3 kids.
We said he's a father, not a good one.
Little fuckers are slippery.
Yeah, they'll get away. They'll get away on you. They will.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a little league for you in this.
Yeah, there you go. Now they don't, I don't know whether you guys saw this, but the Ivy League has got these new fucking tackling dummies that move, so you no longer are going to hit in football practice. You will only tackle a moving tackling dummy, and they said this may end up within a couple years being picked up by the whole NCAA. That nobody
is this for head-on-head collisions?
Yeah, head-on-head. You know how they worry about people getting hurt. So these things move on a rope now, and guys hit them. And I think the Ivy League is picking up the whole thing. And then maybe the rest of football.
But the NCAA, like someone in a meeting was like, "Can we just cut their heads off?"
So wait, it goes side to side?
Yeah, it goes side to side. I guess I don't know if it's ever going to be coming at you or how they hit a fucking hole. You know what I mean? But they do not want people. I mean, at a certain point, I'd say this. I don't think the Ivy League has much of a defense now. I think you could pretty much go there and score at will.
I like that they still put a jersey on it, though. You're just
Well, some of their brains are already scrambled. They just go for the numbers.
How do I relate to this stack of tires? Just throw a number on it.
Hitting a stack of tires is fucking hilarious anyway. But you see these big animals, and then they're never going to tackle anybody until they're in a game.
That's why his wife can never wear numbers. Isn't this shirt cute? It's got a 3 on it. Can't put it on. Let's get a new fridge.
Everybody in Philly still hate Dallas, no matter what's happening.
Oh, yeah, forget about it.
That's the most hated, Dallas.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you learn.
Definitely still a lot of Calvin pissing on the Dallas Star t-shirts.
Yeah. Dallas is hated everywhere, though, isn't it?
Are they pretty much? Are they hated by Giants fans?
Yeah, fuck the Cowboys.
Yeah,
they're shit.
America's team. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. You know what I always thought is funny too is anybody who tries to show up wearing a fucking uniform for the other.
You deserve
team.
it.
Yeah,
you deserve all the shit you're getting.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to other places and sat on my hands and watched the game, very quietly. Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
Your fucking team will score, you look over at your friend.
Yeah, that's his most subtle way to say, fuck you.
Yeah. Send him a poop text.
Yeah. There's no reason to show up in a Redskins jersey and not think you're not going over the fucking top.
Yeah.
It's just asking for trouble.
I think it goes Cowboys, Giants, and then Redskins, because no one, Redskins have been bad for so long. You don't really, they're not a threat.
You almost feel for them.
Yeah, and if they win, you're like, good for them.
Yeah.
That's a dog shit city anyway.
I know the guys that worked at JFK, and they would come and, do radio in Philly, and they would say, like, fuck, get spit on and shit. Just going down. They would try to act like but if anyone saw the JFK, they always knew it from Howard, mentioned in all the different places, so they would get fucked with and shit thrown at them.
Right.
They're like, we're just doing a radio show. I don't play for them. And the only reason, this is my job.
I think part of the psychology of, like, the dude that wears the opposing team jersey is, part of it is like, yo, if I get hit first, I can't get arrested when I fight. Which isn't true. And then they end up getting murdered by, 15 people throwing beers at them anyway.
Well, last year there was the guy, and it was in Philly. I can't remember what jersey the other guy was wearing, but remember he was walking through the... No, this is the one...
Are you talking about the subway knockout?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite videos of all time.
Well, he was starting the shit. He was talking shit.
Exactly.
But, that's the thing is, when I was reading comments on it on some site, they were like, I can't believe that this guy would be attacked that way. Like, even if you talk shit, I'm like, no, that guy's dumb.
Yeah, well,
if you're walking around Philly,
there was a shortcut of that. And then they released the longer, like the first minute and a half of him talking shit, and then everyone's like, delete that comment.
Rethink this.
Yeah, he looked like one of those dudes that all of his arguments are like that back of the palm, slapping the hand. Yeah, like, you don't understand, dude. You don't get me right now, dog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This.
Come on, fuck up. Come on now. I'm just being true. I'm just being
He doesn't break strike. He's walking.
It's incredible.
Come on now. I'm just being true.
Oh my God.
He slides on the...
He picks his head up like somebody's got a garden hose on his face. Just wetting him on a lawn.
Incredible moment where he has a little skip in his step. Like, where exactly am I going to land this punch?
Yeah.
You watch him thinking about it. He's getting so... There it is.
Oh, my
there.
God.
The guy throwing the punch has the demeanor of someone that has to throw something out and just saw a trash can. It's like, oh, right over there. Get rid of this.
Also,
actually,
his first response was that.
Yeah. But it's not unlike the punch that's in your show.
Yeah.
It's exactly
it's
the same.
really that, yeah.
God, all his sandwiches are going to taste like quarters.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, you being a Giants fan, do you think the guy had it coming to you? Do you feel bad for him, or?
I don't feel bad for him. This guy's a fucking moron. I mean, he's looking around him. It's everyone else is a fucking Eagles fan.
But you know what?
Yeah. They should put that on the prayer card for his funeral. This guy's a fucking idiot.
But I swear to God, the same thing should happen to everybody in New York who says they're selling a cheesesteak. That's what I want to fucking do. I want to just go around the counter and lay them out for lying to me.
Yeah.
Why is this on a fucking hot dog bun?
While they're choking on it.
Yeah.
I see that all the time at games. It's like a guy wearing like a Cowboys jersey and his girlfriend's like overly hot.
Right.
She's like, Justin, stop it. And he's like, no, what are you going to do to me? And then he gets his teeth knocked out. She's like, Justin, stop! It's always the same fucking story over and over again.
But you're right. She
Clean
does
his teeth up.
Everyone look at me as I scream, no! No!
She's just scooping his teeth up like Jackie Kennedy was cleaning those brains up.
Now I want a cheesesteak.
Yeah. But I'm kind of hungry, so.
Tommy Pope, John McKeever, and Tim Butterly are in studio.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking right at him.
All new episodes of Delco Proper are streaming now on Comedy Central. Go to cc.com to watch.
You got to watch it, send it around to your friends. You know what? This is a conversation starter. The show was a conversation starter because it does remind people when they're at a certain time of their life.
Yeah.
You know, people don't realize that your first relationships are with your buddies long before, that you find the woman that you're going to spend your life with. So really, for me, it's always like half of who you are is who your parents were, who your family was, and then your neighborhood, how that neighborhood kind of raised you to be.
We kind of wanted to do that. We wanted to show the community in the neighborhood, like you were saying about the blue collar comedy that's been lost for some time, unless it's in a corner of a bar or someone's living room. Out of the 4 episodes, we tried 2 of them to get out into the community and just show these wild characters that remind you of your friends from growing up or somebody that you're related to.
And these are your best friends for life, even if you move away. There's fucking guys I haven't seen in 25 years. And if I got a phone call, like, I need you to help me get rid of this body, I would just go. I would just say, all right, I'm going to be there. I'd have to say my check. I got to go, really. This other thing is really important, even though I haven't kept up with it. Because I know the same. I mean, I know that there are fucking people that would hide me from the cops to this day.
Yeah.
To this fucking day, no matter where they lived. It's just the way you grow up and feel with those people.
And you talk to them like you pick up right where you left off.
Yeah.
There's no like, well, how you been? Just right back into it. It's nice.
You're right back into it. You normally get a call because something horrible happened to someone else. Spend 30 seconds.
Yeah. You know, Frank's dead, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
You should have seen this catch.
It was a soda can, not a soda can. But still.
All right, guys, it was great to have you come in here today.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
And the show is really, I mean, the thing is, it's a really funny show, but I can see how much you guys put into it as well, too. It's done pretty flawlessly. That's great, man.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for saying that.
Tommy Pope, John McKeever, and Tim Butterly have been in the studio. All new episodes of Delco Proper. They're streaming now on ComedyCentral.com. You go to cc.com to watch.
All right, that's it for us, guys. We'll see you all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!